Hello and welcome to episode 200 of the F.Reality Podcast. Episode 200, guys. 200 episodes in.
That's crazy.
We've actually
That's
made
insane.
This
Congrats.
far. Yeah, congratulations, guys. Did you ever imagine that we'd make it to episode 200?
No.
No. Yeah. No. Not when we started. No fucking way. No way.
If you're an OG, you remember the days of Prometheus and PSVR Frank. They were previous hosts of the show, actually.
Exactly.
And if you've been around for that long, you're a real OG in the F.Reality crew's eyes.
And the show had a cool name too.
VR Inside,
VR
yes.
Inside.
Wow, very original.
That feels like a long time ago.
Wow.
Yeah.
Dude,
Yeah.
like you can watch it. That's the funny part. Like you can not only listen back to it, we can also watch it and see how Mike goes from his small alleyway that he lived in somewhere hobo to Mike on the attic with all the hardware he could dream of.
Unbelievable.
That's true. I literally went up in the world, like 3 floors. That's right. If you actually want to watch it, they're on my channel. And I think they might even be on your channel as well, right, Nathy? VR Inside? Or is it just on mine?
No. Like you uploaded them to your channel.
Yeah.
All of them.
Yeah, I've got the history of this podcast on my own channel. So if you search VR Inside on my channel, you'll find them all. So good luck with that. Enjoy the back catalogue. They're just as cringe as they are today. So,
You're not
enjoy.
missing out. Like.
Anyway, I'm back in the hot seat today, and we've got lots of juicy VR to talk about, including the Meta Gaming Showcase, where hopefully we'll be getting some exciting new game announcements for the Quest. I share a new Metro-style VR game in the works on PC called Paradox of Hope. Gives us some hope for some new PC VR content. Pico are bringing their standalone headset, the Pico Neo 3 Link, to UK and Europe. We'll be discussing revenue share for creators in Meta's Metaverse Horizon Worlds, and we'll be talking about fresh PSVR 2 rumors. To round up this beautiful show, Zim has got some new releases coming in the next couple of weeks, but for now, let me introduce you to the team and find out what's been their highlight of the last couple of weeks, and also let us know what you've been playing in the chat so we can read out some of your highlights too. So first up, when this guy isn't flogging desks in the metaverse, he's shooting hoops, dunking on those pesky kids in Rec Room. It's the one and only Nathy. How you doing, dude?
I'm doing great. So first, I want to know from you, what did you think of last episode?
So I watched like the first 20 minutes. I was just like, what the heck is going on?
That's what we thought too, actually.
What has happened? This isn't Zim. This is Jim. This is a Jim show.
Yeah, this is Jim.
Gym takeover.
But it was a nice change, and I think that's the fun thing, like to mix it up a little bit, keep you all on your toes if you're watching or listening. So I enjoyed it in that sense.
Great. Well, that's good to hear. So we can have more Jim shows.
Yeah,
I'm up for that. Yeah.
It's becoming a fun alter ego. This character. So.
Yeah.
So what have you been up to then, Nathy?
I love that he just embraced it. His name.
Yeah,
his
fully.
name.
There was no holding back. Exactly.
Yeah. I have not been doing much VR, to be honest. I kind of just gave up. I was like, I'm just not gonna jump into VR, and I got my Steam Deck. Funny enough.
Oh, wow.
I didn't expect it to arrive that soon. I also, honestly, I kind of bought it in this kind of like FOMO moment of like, okay, everyone, this is like hype stuff. I'll buy it. I'm more of a PC guy. I am not really into like the console gaming of like sitting on my couch playing games there. I always in the end up behind my PC playing video games, and it's the same. Like I have a Switch. You wouldn't know because I never use it. Like my nephew got it, so it's like I buy it because I want to play some Mario Kart for like a week, and I'm like, okay, I played it, and I'm happy I have it because if I want to play Mario Kart, I can play it. It sounds like such a luxurious problem.
Wait, Mario Kart on the Switch or Mario Kart on the deck?
No, on the Switch. So that's why I have a Nintendo Switch. But so basically what I'm saying, I have already the things that you can, experience PC, console, even handheld. But I did want to try the Steam Deck because I also see it as like, okay, a new step into where we could be heading, because this is a PC in your hands. This is not like a Nintendo Switch is something totally different than a Steam Deck. I feel like a Steam Deck is for like PC Master Race gamers. It's like freaking OP.
And it's also it's like a new operating system that they kind of have for it, right? So it's like kind of interesting to see Valve going into that direction of like providing hardware to such an extent.
And also Gabe has kind of hinted at the fact that this is kind of the stepping stone into them getting a standalone PC VR headset, right? So it's definitely an interesting piece of tech. It definitely looks huge, though.
It is huge. It's huge. Look at if you're watching our show, you cannot see my head anymore because the thing is in front of it.
Yeah,
and my head is quite big.
Like
Yeah, but when I opened it and I like turned it on for the first time, I was just saying to myself, "This is sick. This is like super sick, bro." Like it's kind of big, but it's not big in a way where you could play it and just hold it and just continue playing it. Although after like an hour or two, you start to just put it somewhere on your lap, or it's definitely like heavier than a Switch Lite or a normal Switch. But the fact that you log in and all your games are there, I don't have to buy anything. It's not like a new ecosystem. It's just the same ecosystem. I can just play anything I want. I felt like I was like a kid in the candy store, almost like all these games were free. I bought them, but I was like, well, I can play this, I can play that. And they're like these two tabs of like, you can download every game you want, but it doesn't mean that they run on the Steam Deck. And then you have another section that shows which games do work. And but I did play some games that aren't on the list officially. I played BioShock, not on the list officially. I played the remastered. Not the most like heavy game, but I kept playing it because the thing is, I usually play it on PC, but I never played it on my couch before, and I never played it in my bed before, and I never played it on my toilet before.
I was gonna say it's coming. The throne is coming.
And I think that made this like very intriguing in a way where I was like, wow, like this, you have this machine in your hands, and in this tiny screen. Even that it's kind of small, like I could play it on my widescreen here. I have an ultra wide. I could play BioShock on that and have like a way higher frame rate than on the Steam Deck. But the fact it's so small in your hands, and you kind of have to look at like what's happening, and it's just amazing. It's like what I used to have when I was with when we went on holiday with my parents, and I was in the back of the car, and I had like my Game Boy. And then when there was a tunnel, I had to stop, like I had to pause quickly. But then I got like an advance Game Boy, and there was suddenly light, right? This is the same here, where you can turn off all the lights and you have this tiny screen. You can still keep playing, or while you're walking upstairs, you can just like finish your. I don't know. Like I think it's more the feeling that I have with this thing than really what you can do with it. It's like the nostalgic like value of this thing of like this.
I remember with my Game Boy, I had like one of those things I had to put on the top, which like was like a magnifying glass and like a light on it.
They were the best.
Although I don't expect to see that for like the Valve Steam Deck, but do you see like if there's like a market for any kind of accessories on there to like enhance some kind of experience? Like I don't know, like. For example, is there Rumble on any of the device, or like there is already?
Yeah, there is Rumble. Not like the haptic. I mean, there are haptics inside, but not the force feedback that isn't there.
Yeah.
But and the battery life is also quite amazing. I saw some reviews where people said like, it's like draining fast. I think it depends on what you're playing. For me, like I could just play for like 6 hours straight. And I'm like,
wow,
halfway.
That's good.
That's amazing.
Yeah, and I'm like now halfway, like finished through like BioShock again. I like, it's no secret, but this game is like pure art. It's the original.
The original's so good, man.
BioShock 2 is like kind of the meh one in the middle, and then you have Infinite, my favorite.
Yeah, that's amazing.
But it's just great, the dialogue and everything, and the gameplay is like so fast and the puzzles are cool, and the dialogue, like I keep listening to the same tapes again or going back to a tape because there's some hidden thing. It's BioShock is all I want, and if that would come to VR, like the storyline and the everything, it's so good, and that's why I just kept playing.
BioShock is like one of those games that would work incredibly well in VR, just because like you could do gesture-based spells with like the plasmids and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And like you say, with the atmosphere and the characters, it's already got this amazing lore that it could fall back on. But yeah, I'm so happy that you got your Steam Deck. My email came through 2 days ago, so it should be on its way.
You'll soon be able to link up.
Yeah, have you tried Desk Job yet? The Valve.
No, I totally forgot about that, because when I booted this thing up, and that's also the amazing part about this stuff. It's like there's no manual, and so it's there, and you just start it, and then you just need to. But this thing has so many different button combinations. You can play with the touchpad. You can play with the thumbsticks. You can play with the D-pad. It's like this is like a computer, like an Xbox controller, PlayStation controller. It's all
mouse and keyboard, everything in one.
It's so stupid. That's like, and there's so many buttons that you don't even use. But no, it's a great thing. And I think it's amazing if you go and travel and stuff. And
I remember originally when the Steam Deck was announced, there was a lot of people talking about the fact that you'd be able to like use like virtual desktop or something and maybe run a VR game from this. But I haven't actually seen anyone pull that off yet successfully.
I've seen some videos of people playing like Super Halt and Half-Life and stuff. You can play, but the frame rate is like extremely low. Like we're talking about like maybe 20 FPS. Like you're gonna get so motion sick.
Yeah, that's right.
This is not made for. But yeah, you can definitely see the community. Like they're doing so many stupid things that people are like, why you buy a handheld? But it's the Valve community. So they put like SSDs on the back, make it even heavier than it already is. Putting like vans on it. Someone connected like a keyboard, so it was like he can flip it open now, and it's like a freaking laptop again. It's like, why? But I mean, yeah, it's funny. I mean, that's Valve in a nutshell, right? So
awesome. Yeah. Well, hopefully this is the gateway to a future standalone Valve headset. That would be awesome. You know, if they learn a lot from this, they evolve it, put it into a headset form factor.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, fingers crossed. Hopefully Brad was right all along and he wasn't just going completely crazy, because I think he is on the verge of that right now. But bless his heart. Anyway, great to see that you're having fun with your Steam Deck. But next up, this guy is like a fine wine from the Viveverse. Full of flavor, but completely virtual, although he does seem to get better with age. Everyone, say howdy to Rowdy. How you doing, dude? You all right?
So I get better with age. I like that.
Of course. Yeah.
No, I've been doing great. I've actually managed to play some VR this week again, and it's funny that we were talking about BioShock, right? Because what I went into was I tried Return to Rapture 2, the BioShock mod in Half-Life Alyx. I haven't had that much experience with it. I've played like maybe an hour and a half or something like that. So that's roughly what I played. I mostly mess around, but I am seriously impressed. Like, I mean, I expected a lot from it because, of course, it's a Belgian guy who made it. So, you know, my expectations were off the charts. You know, like, but it's an amazing work of art. I think that they've managed to do there. So originally, I think like. Because it's not a one guy team who does that, but like the front of the team is his name is Wim Buitaert, and he considers himself a master builder. So that he built all the scenes and the artwork. And if you're into BioShock, wow! Like, I mean, the environments are really to go into the lighthouse, you know, and to see like the statue from Andrew Ryan, and just to experience that kind of environment. Knowing that it's like, you know, such an old game and such a kind of like a nostalgic thing, it's amazing to do so. It's kind of like Half-Life Alyx and BioShock had like a baby together, and it's not like you know, those kind of babies where you say to the parents like, oh, you know, it looks so cute, but in the back of your head you think like, ugh, no. This is like a proper beautiful baby that has come out of those two. That I mean, it's really impressive. I think,
because I think I probably played about as much as you did of the Chapter 2 Return to Rapture mod, but I didn't encounter any of the custom weapons.
No, me neither.
Yet.
No.
Yeah, and that was the one thing that really drew me in, because I wanted to see like the BioShock weapons in the game.
Yeah.
And you know, you're still fighting Combine soldiers.
Yeah,
as well.
so it's kind of like. It's like because the story also goes that I think like that the like it's Andrew Ryan who's been captured, or the it's like an artifact from Andrew Ryan has been captured by City 17, right. And it's like it's not. I mean, it's set in the BioShock universe, but it's like with Half-Life mixed into that, so it's kind of like those two universes like came together, and but the voice work in it's like again like it's so well done. You have like again like a headset that you put on. You have someone very much like in the original BioShock and very much like in Half-Life as well. You have like someone guiding you through the experience and like helping you, and it's a very interesting relationship that you build up with that person, just like it is within BioShock and within Half-Life Alyx. The voice work of it is I think amazing, and the artwork and just the amount of work. I looked it up because I mean I'm not going to be able to finish all of it, but they say that it's over 15 hours of gameplay that has been added to a game like Half-Life Alyx for a mod. I think that is so impressive.
Well, Roddy, what did they do with the arms? Because in the first game, I mean, one of the things that stood out to me was this kind of awkward animation, impressive animation where you're jabbing one of the arms with is it plasmids or whatever you call the add-on, and then your hand kind of does a transformation thing. Like, are you just have the standard body in Alyx, or how does that look?
Yeah, you have the standard body of Alyx because you play as Alyx as well. Like even like the voice. I mean, I don't want to give away too much, but like the enemy refers to you as Alyx, so it's damn you Alyx, and like it's like it really goes far into like combining the two universes together, and I think that is pretty awesome.
How come you've held off playing this, then, Nathan? Obviously, you're a huge BioShock fan.
The thing is, because this guy keeps adding stuff. Yeah. And at first it was very basic. Then I was like, I'm not gonna play this yet. And then he kept adding things like weapons. Little sisters.
You could try the
stuff
first
like
one
that.
Though. Like this is already part 2 basically. So you could you could play Return to Rapture, which is I think released last year. Is that correct?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it was a while ago.
And this is kind of like the sequel to that, or like the follow up on it. Because I know that I mean I haven't tried the first one, but I've seen trailers. But they like rebuild, like for example the plane crash that you have in the beginning.
Yeah,
that's like. Holy, like to experience that in VR on impressive. Such a high level from like a modding community, like I mean not to disrespect the modding community, but wow, like what you can do with those tools, like there's a lot of developers that could learn from that. I think like it's very impressive. Yeah.
I think one tip that I would say is with Chapter 2 is that a lot of people got confused that you can't install the levels from the game individually and then play them. You have to install all 8 of them all at the same time through the workshop. Otherwise, the whole mod doesn't work correctly. So, it's free, obviously, but just go to the Steam Workshop, and if you want to play it, install every single level of the Chapter 2 Return to Rapture mod.
In Half-Life Alyx, you need to activate them as well. And I find it a little bit weird to activate mods in Half-Life Alyx because when you click it becomes a minus. So the way I saw it, like, I thought they were all activated when I loaded them up, because when I clicked them, it became a minus, and I thought I deactivated them. But it's actually like if it's like a little stripe, a minus sign, that means that the mod is activated.
Yeah. Good tip. There you go. Return to Rapture, Chapter 2.
Chapter 2.
Cool. Good suggestion. So next up, this guy is completely unpredictable. I'm not sure if he needs professional help or doing this show is in fact his therapy. It's the Jim Zim combo. It's ZimTalk 5. How you doing, dude? You all right?
Good, Mike. Very good. Thank you. I've mostly been struggling with engineering work this week. New camera, networking equipment, just trying to get the show to run off of basically a laptop and stuff. Still looking forward to my things coming from the UK, which are still trapped over there. So dealing with, I mean, you're a bit of a tinkerer yourself. So I do like that struggle, like punching through something that you think can't work and figuring out layer by layer. So putting loads of hours into that. But while I've not been doing that, kind of going back to a couple of games just to enjoy some of what VR has to offer, you know? So I mentioned 3 things. One is new. So one of them was Phantom Covert Ops, which is a great kind of spy game, right? The old David Hayter piece. Feels also very on the nose right now with the whole like NATO Russia thing going on. So
Ooh, yeah,
it's kind of a funny it's kind of funny to be in that environment, now at this moment. What were you gonna say?
I was gonna say, like, the thing with Phantom is it's got like one of these excellent levels later on in the game. So I don't know how far you're into the game. I don't want to spoil it for you.
Chapter 5 of 8, I think, at the moment.
Have you encountered the sniper character?
Yes.
Okay, that level I thought was incredibly impressive because
they're fun.
You've had plenty of time to play Phantom, so if you're listening and I'm spoiling this for you, then you should have played the game like a year ago, so I'm sorry. But essentially, you're in this kayak and you've got these like mines decked out in front of you, which you have to avoid, but you've also got a sniper that's hunting you with this kind of laser sight that's kind of like, darting across the water to take you out. So you have to take cover, take out these mines, avoid the fire. And it was just such a cool level. And it was kind of like reminiscent of almost like the Metal Gear Solid sort of like character encounters. And I know obviously the game was kind of lent on that a little bit with David Hayter doing the voice of, the characters. But yeah, very cool game. Quite underrated, I think.
What if they bring that back to PlayStation VR 2?
That would.
I don't know, because Oculus paid for that one.
Exactly.
Oh, they paid for it? Okay.
Yeah.
But I think and there is a big difference. Like I would say that because it runs on Quest and I'm playing it on Quest at the moment. It's a great game. If you're a Quest user and you didn't hear about this, like go back, check that out. But the second thing I would say is if you have a PC, this is one of those games that on PC looks like the inky blacks, the fog, the atmosphere is just like wow. Even from the moment you set off into the kayak that you're in, just great. And this premise of like, oh, I'm gonna play a game set in a kayak. I remember initially being like really skeptical about it. It works. It really works. Like there's a few physics bugs in places where you're in a tight place with your with your paddle and trying to work it off walls and things. But in general, it's a really unique, polished spy game. It's great. Fantastic.
Yeah. And I actually enjoyed Phantom more than I did Fract, which is their latest title. And Fract is actually coming to PC now as well. I don't know if you mentioned that before on the podcast, but yeah, Phantom is a great game from Endreams, and looking forward to whatever they cook up next. But yeah, good recommendation. What else?
I'm looking forward to pick up with Fract though. I'm glad you mentioned it because that's one I didn't get a chance to because I flogged my PSVR by that point.
Of course. And
then the other two that I played, I went back to play Myst because I like personal torture, and that game is just like because the game and its puzzles are so old, like designed in the 90s or whatever. But like solving them now, like battling like an old school game, and like there was the funny thing is I ran across a door, right? There was a button to the left of this like what I would count as a secret door. You push the button, the door opens. Like it was, and I only found this maybe after playing the game for like 12 hours or something. You're like, how could I be so stupid? It's like one of those things. But it is starting now to get rich in terms of the story. About I don't know, I'm probably between 8 and 12 hours into it, and that's you cut that in half for your own playtime. But Myst is really, really cool. And now I'm just like starting to yearn for not only Firmament, their upcoming game, Slan World's next game, but also like I kind of want to go back and maybe finish off Abduction. I'd love to see them do Riven. Their environments are just really neat. So
16-hour streams incoming. Yeah.
But like, and this is from someone that loves puzzle games. I actually had a full head of hair before I started playing Myst VR. Wow. Put it that way.
That's a long time.
The game made me pull everything out. I'm surprised I've got any beard hairs left.
That's why. Okay.
It's infuriatingly hard. Infuriatingly hard. You need.
There are some unfair puzzles in it. That's the thing I would say, and that's why I mentioned in the '90s because they didn't care back then.
Yes.
But what about Firmament? Is it going to be a bit more casual? What's up with that?
Are
we kind of meeting in the middle? No,
there's not a lot of news about it. I mean,
in development for a long time.
The early alpha build of it about a year and a half or 2 years ago, it felt a lot like Abduction. In other words, very kind of do thing A to unlock thing B, but there's a lot going on, and you have to kind of keep, almost like in an adventure game, like a LucasArts adventure game, you have to kind of test the combinations of things to kind of make your way forward. But when you finally get that, like I remember in was it, Return to Monkey Island or something, like having to carve a tofu mask to like appease the volcano god or something like that. I can't remember, but I was stuck on that goddamn puzzle for like 3 weeks. You know what I mean? Like, and you're like knocking your head against the door going, what is my monkey brain not able to comprehend?
Yeah, I remember
the days
one
before
of those.
internet guides. Oh
Yeah,
my
that's what
God.
I wanted to say, because nowadays, like yesterday as well, like playing some Bioshock, we're like, okay, what is this code for again? Like looking it up, and then in the end, you couldn't finish your game.
Yeah.
It's like you had to just
Exactly.
Like
the heck?
especially with like the Curse of Monkey Island, I was like, back in the days when like internet was as common as it was right now, right? I remember there was this one puzzle I got stuck on where you had to get like the map off. You had to find a map.
Oh my God.
And what you ultimately had to do was you had to get a guy to turn his back around on the beach because he had like the map tattooed on his back, and then you had to have him get sunburned. So that the map would and then you could peel the skin off and you had the map. That's how you had to do it back then. It took me so long to figure out. Like,
isn't there like a new game coming from that? Funny enough, like you guys mention it now, but I learned about this a few weeks ago because of this announcement. I didn't know this thing existed. So it's like the best point and click ever made. That's what I heard.
Original is amazing. I've played it like a dozen times.
There's also a remaster, I think.
There is a remaster. It's not quite as good.
Yeah.
But,
For me,
should I play this on my Steam Deck?
Yeah.
Play it on your Steam Deck.
That would definitely deck.
For me, the best point and click is still, I think, the longest journey. I think that one.
But there were glory days back then. Point and click adventures like Full Throttle, Day of the Tentacle.
Yeah.
Fantastic games.
Great
I
matter.
kind of want that to come to VR, and we've kind of seen it with the Invisible Hours, for example. Like that kind of thing could work. So we'll see.
Yeah.
Anyway, I won't go much further because we've already taken enough time here. But I thought I'd mention the third game, and this is the kind of relief point, because if Myst is too hard for you, the game that I played, we spotlighted it about a month ago, Unbinary, which is a completely hand-drawn. Do you remember? This is like it's all hand-drawn VR visuals, and it's really gorgeous. The puzzles are, I would say, like they're just right. They're enough to make you think, but it's not going to break you, unlike Myst. And playing it, like I went for the art, kind of expecting a bit of a showcase that way. But the way the puzzles are designed, the gameplay, and just the kind of interaction with the characters, the voiceovers, like it's a really nice little package. So I'd recommend, not just to Mike, but you guys as well, if it looks like your kind of thing, check out Unbinary, because it's a really fun title. And I've kind of probably put 2 hours into it so far, but having a real blast with that.
Nice.
Okay. Yeah, I'll check that one out. I'm not playing Myst, but I'll check that one out for sure. What about the chat? Have they been up to anything cool?
Yeah, so we have David Peters, who has been jumping into Fox Machine, but got turned around early in game at base, trying to get his card. I don't know what that means, but
God, the base sections, they're infuriating. I totally understand what he's talking about. Yeah.
Okay.
Poor man. Yeah.
And then we have Alex VR, a friend of the show. He's loving Knock right now. Training those biceps. Like, have you ever seen like Alex? He is not that big. It's kind of like Mike size, but this guy's like buffed up. It's crazy. Like
Tiny
he could lift me up. Yeah, exactly. And then we have Steel, who has been playing Rec Room, man of my culture. Then we have Roar, who has been playing the latest Lo-Fi update, and also tried the new Formula 1 2022 car in Automobilista 2.
That's coming off of the recent. There was a recent Humble Bundle based around VR games. You can get like 4 or 5 really good like VR titles that way.
I bought them actually on your recommendations, Im.
Oh, very good.
And then last but not least, we have Maimfen, who has beat Lone Echo 2 and played Outer Wells Echoes of the Eye in Glorious VR.
That's very supposed to be very good. Yeah.
Lone Echo 2. Yeah. So my name is Mike. If you don't know who I am, host of the show. My highlight, well, I've got a few things. I beat Elden Ring, which I think is an impressive feat.
Yeah, okay.
80 hours in Elden Ring. And I finished it. Pretty happy I finished it. You can now call me Mike, the Elden Lord.
Okay.
I thought after finishing Elden Ring, I thought I was like a like a boss at these sort of games, and then played Demon Souls and got my ass handed to me again. So this is a very different From Software game, but it's a very special one. And I think if you like Zelda Breath of the Wild, it's basically a grown-up version of that. It's vast and a lot of fun. I'd highly recommend it for anyone, to anyone really. You don't have to be into Souls games or Bloodborne or whatever to enjoy this one. Elden Ring, very special game. Loved it. I also played Tentacular, which is a VR game from Devolver. They published it. It's actually surprisingly deep. It looks like a baby's game, but where you just smash up a city with your tentacles, but it's actually very much deeper than that. You know, there's a story behind it. You celebrate your birthday, you've got a family, you're going out to work, you're trying to earn your keep as a squid. And you help the city, and you have to build stuff. The puzzles are actually very challenging. So if you're looking for like a kind of physics puzzler, maybe check out Tentacular. It's not the kind of kiddie game that you think it is. Then I checked out Cosmonia's High. It is a kiddie game, but I think it's expertly executed. You know, the mechanics and the way it's been designed and everything, top-notch work from Alchemy Labs. You can really see that it's like the successor to like Job Simulator and everything else.
Yeah, the permutations in that title are very impressive. That's the thing that really struck me. I wasn't playing it, but I was watching my daughter, and it's like, wow, someone had to program all of those interactions, and it blows the other ones out of the water.
And I think Nathan mentioned this on the last show because he was talking about his experience with it. And I think it is going to be one of those ones that maybe didn't get a great start in life, but I think will grow over time and be one of those, ones that a lot of people will cherish because it's a fantastic game. But my highlight, obviously, if you haven't seen the video already, was playing Gunman Contracts, the Half-Life mod, with real-life haptics, in that I was able to set up a paintball gun to shoot me in real life if I got shot in the game. So basically how I did this was I took a haptic vest and a haptic gun from ProTube. And I've played this before, and I really enjoyed the Chapter 2 mod when I played it on the channel. And I was like, how can I up the ante a little bit? And I was like, it'd be kind of cool if it just really hurt. Like, when you got hit in game, it really hurt. There was real stakes at risk, that you would be punished for not using cover effectively. So I kind of had this idea of using a paintball gun. And initially I was going to get a friend to just stand there and shoot me whilst, if I got hit in game. But I was like, no, it'd be way cooler if we can somehow use the signal, the electronic signal from the B-Haptics vest, which is already, modded to work with the game. And it sort of triggers a rumble when you get hit in game, to then pull the trigger on a paintball gun, because most paintball guns, I didn't know this before this idea, but they have electronic triggers. So you can actually fire them really rapidly. So a friend and I worked on it for a little while. We got it all set up, and I eventually filmed it this weekend. 2 days ago. So what was it? Wednesday, Thursday. Had a great fun filming it. I thought it was like a really great idea, and then I put the headset on and I was all kitted up, ready to go, and I was like, holy, this is a stupid idea. This is a ridiculous idea. We didn't get to test it prior to actually recording it. So when I recorded it, that was the first time I felt the paintballs hit me for real, and I was like, wow. yeah, this is pretty crazy. And I think the other thing that you don't really realize is that you're blind, obviously wearing a VR headset, and the trigger is instantaneous. So the second you get hit in game is the second you get hit with a paintball. So that was the kind of like the first moment you were really
and you did this in your house, by the way.
I did this right here
It's not outside or anywhere. It's in his studio.
I was kind of worried that things were going to get destroyed, so I did set up like dust sheets around the whole office. The green screen was the only thing that wasn't protected, and I was kind of worried because these balls come out at like 200 miles an hour, that it was going to go through the drywall, like the plasterboard, and destroy my green screen. But it turned out it didn't. They did hit the green screen, but they were able to sort of just wipe off, didn't cause any damage. And yeah, everything's fine. I was surprised that I came out pretty much unscathed.
Do you have any bruises to show off?
Oh yeah.
I can't show you the ones on my chest, but I can show you this one.
Yeah, that looks painful.
I got tagged on the arm. Most of the shots hit me directly in the center of the chest.
Yeah.
But yeah, I kind of my adrenaline levels throughout this whole experience were like through the roof, to the point that by the end, when I actually finished it, the sense of relief, I I almost collapse. Like you can just make it out in the video that my legs just give way and I just like fall on the floor. And then that was me for like 10, 20 minutes while my adrenaline levels were dropping.
It's like you can't pretend anymore of being immersed.
No,
it's just happening in a moment. It's how did it compare to you playing it without the paintball gun? Was it then always like, because it's a very intense like mod, right? Where you can't screw it up. But how does it compare? Like, is just playing it normally immersive enough? Or is it kind of like, oh, Mike played so much VR, so you kind of know it's not real, so you're just playing it for?
No. Like the mod is great. The mod is fantastic as it is. But yeah, playing it this way was just like the craziest thing I've ever done in VR. Like, and the problem is like you only have one life, so when you get killed, you have to start from the beginning again. Yeah, and I actually got killed twice. So, there's a part where you have to rescue a girl and you have to escort her out the building, and she actually got shot by an enemy and killed. Ended the mission.
I love how this girl.
Because you took a shot there. Because I wasn't quite sure what happened. Did you take a shot when she got shot, or did you get shot?
So when the mission fails, you get an extra shot. I didn't realize that. So I'm standing there saying she got killed. I got shot. I took a bullet for her anyway, and then I took another one, and it was completely unexpected.
I just love how this AI was almost aware of you doing something really scary, and it was just almost trolling you to bring you in danger. Yeah. I don't know why, but
and I was so worried because like I'd made it to the end, and they were like, "You have to use the cover." So I was like, I have to be on my knees, because otherwise I'm going to get hit. But the thing is, if I'm on my knees, it's going to hit me in the head. And I don't want to get hit in the face with a paintball, even though I had a mask on and I was wearing protective stuff. Thankfully, the bullets just grazed my head and hit the green screen. But the thing is, if I'd have stood up, then that would have been mission over, and I wouldn't have succeeded my goal in the video in completing the level, and I didn't want to have to go through it again. So that's why, I was really crapping myself.
You got so lucky, man. You got so lucky because my first and last time playing paintball, I took a shot from like 5 feet away, crawling out of this river, and a guy shot me right here in the head, and it was a stream of blood straight away. And so like if you would have hit, if those two shots that went over your head, like would have hit your dome, I think you would have been bleeding.
Well, I had like a cover there, and the Bobo VR head strap actually provided some sort of like cover at the top, because it's almost like a PSVR style halo at the top. Yeah. So I kind of used that headset specifically because of that reason. So I thought I might have a little bit of extra cover,
But the interesting thing is, like, when I watch this, it's like what I want VR to be, not necessarily, the pain part, but the fact that you're so immersed. Like, I know, like, I think I know you well enough where I can see you play a game and kind of know that you're having fun with this game, but it's not real, even that it's VR. But this is like next level. This is like where we want VR to be, because you see so many emotions like going through your head, because you were like terrified. Yeah. But then also like being kind of confident in some parts, because you have to be confident, because otherwise you're going to screw up. Yeah. Because you really went in like guns blazing. But then when you died once, you were like, okay, now I got punished for it. Now I need to like try hard, even harder, It's very interesting. I think the reactions were more interesting to see than necessarily you getting hit, but the fact that it's real and it's happening in the moment and there is no way back.
Mike was very heavy on the ammo clip.
He's
blasting like.
And I was reloading like practically every like 4 shots because I didn't want to run out of ammo in like the worst situation. But it was like,
that's where ammo conservation would be really interesting to come into this.
And
it would also be really interesting because like when I saw that and I saw your reactions, I saw how real it was for you. Like if you could do like Space Pirate Arena where both players both players would get shot if you had some way to organize it. If you could both dish the pain and take the pain, and there was like an equal level of opportunity for that, I think that would be probably
the next video. There you go.
Maybe.
But that was the funny thing. I was like, how do I top this now? People were like saying, do a bungee jump. Use tasers next time.
But like the fact that you did this, is this like maybe right now, and I think I have the same thing, like a journey or like looking for what challenges you in VR. You want more. Like this is not just like, oh, hey, funny experiment. You also seem to be looking to stay immersed in VR, literally.
Yeah, I think, we all know that it's been a very slow start to the year. We've had some great games, don't get me wrong, but I think we're all craving something more right now. And this was me craving something more. And this was the only way that you can get more right now.
Yeah.
And I'd love to try, we talked about the jump on previous shows where you do a jump, like a skydive jump type thing, wingsuit jump with a VR headset on, but it's in Utah, it's in the US. I can't do something like that. I'd love to do something like that because I think it's those kind of experiences that push, your love for VR even further. But like you say, we're kind of limited right now. But so yeah, this was my kind of push to try and make VR more immersive, more intense, more extreme. Because it's like a drug almost, isn't it? You're chasing that first high, and this was my way of doing that. So yeah, it was a fun idea.
Are you into this now? Like, I mean, would you? So remember that concept of the Azana band, that UK series brought up, where you could feel pain or pleasure. Like, if it was a product, whether it was safe or not. But like, would you go for something that brings the pain element in, or?
I don't think I would. Or maybe to a certain degree. Maybe if it was like a was it brain link, neural link? Maybe that way. If it simulates.
Like a
yeah, maybe that way.
Like getting hit on the arm is too much, but getting injections into your brain, that's the way to go.
Yeah, that's fine. Yeah. But if they could do it in a way that makes you feel like it is, but you don't, you know what I mean?
Like
it's
lower the
like
pain levels
in the Matrix.
Yeah.
Maybe a bit, yeah. But I thought it was a really cool idea. I wouldn't be in a rush to do it again, though. Put it that way. It was a fun experiment. Put it that way.
Absolutely great video. I have to say.
Thank you.
Like, I think from concept to the edit, it's just fantastic. Absolutely fantastic.
Yeah.
You got to watch Mike's video, guys.
A lot of people have really enjoyed it, which I'm really happy about. And having not uploaded in such a long time, it's kind of like weird video to come back with. But I hope people enjoy it, and I'm sure it'll kind of grow over time. But I'm really proud of it. It was a fun one. So yeah, let's get into some topics then. Although, as we don't have a sponsor this week, I should take this moment maybe to sponsor ourselves.
Oh, I thought you were gonna. Yeah.
No, this is for us. So because 200 episodes, we can do what we like. So I say, if you enjoy the show, you should hit the like button and show us some love and subscribe to the channel so you don't miss out on our future awesome podcasts. Because hopefully we'll be here in another 100 episodes. So
we have no pillows, mugs, or pop sticks for sale.
No merch, unfortunately. We should sort that out.
It's going to be a longer climb to 300 though, because we're only doing it fortnightly now. So that's a lot longer.
Maybe when things start speeding up again, we'll do more. But I think we're going to have to wait for PlayStation for that.
I do think it has been growing a lot. Maybe because we have been doing it for so long, you don't know where you started and where it's going now. But it does, this podcast does feel like calm before the storm. I do think it's ready for, let's say, 1,000 people watching or listening, or 5,000, or you know what I mean? It's like so. we're just enjoying it. We're just going with the flow. We'll see where it goes. This show doesn't exist because we want to be the best podcast in the VR realm. We just do this because on our own channels and stuff like that, it's like certain conversations you do want to have, but you don't necessarily want to make a video out of it. They're topics that I could talk about for 5 minutes, but for a video I'm like, let's not do that. So I think it's just great to everyone on this show can just say whatever they want. They can just say, hey, I want to talk about this or that. And I think that makes it so interesting, There's just no pressure. It's just chill.
Yeah.
And
if we want to make a 3-hour show, we'll make a 3-hour show, which is likely going to happen.
That's not that does get into, we're running 2-hour shows nowadays, nonstop.
We just like talking about VR. That's it. So yeah, before we get into the news as well, I've got a little quick thing I want to share. Zim brought this up, and I thought it was worthwhile sharing. Palmer Luckey, the creator of Oculus, shared a blog post on Twitter today, marking the 10-year anniversary of Oculus. So it was actually yesterday, the 15th of April. Oculus, the brand, was officially 10 years old from its inception, when he created it and then nurtured it and eventually sold it off. And sadly, now it's dead. But Palmer sort of said in his blog that he kind of wants to share more about the journey that he had with Oculus, its many ups and downs, obviously him being ousted from the company as well. So I'm sure there's going to be plenty more blog posts in the future that are going to be worth reading. If you kind of want to get a bit of a background, maybe you're new to VR and you want to learn a bit about, where it all started, there's an excellent book called The History of the Future, which is by Blake J. Harris. Highly recommend it. It gives you a really good insight, sort of fly on the wall, sort of like month by month documentary of like how the company progressed and how it got up to the acquisition stage. It's really, really cool read. But yeah, one thing in Palmer's blog post that really stood out to me, though, is that he said this year is also the right time to finally unveil some VR technologies I haven't been able to talk about for a variety of reasons. Now, this could mean that potentially Palmer is looking to make a return to VR. Could be consumer tech, could be military tech, because that's obviously his field now, working for a company, his own company called Anduril. It's like a military contractor company, makes drones and all sorts of weird and wonderful tech. But I just think, Palmer making a comeback to VR would make such a splash because there's still so many OGs in the space.
That's the thing. Yeah.
And I think we would all welcome him back with open arms if he said, I'm making a headset or launched a Kickstarter or did something, although now he's got the money to kickstart any project himself now. But I wonder if the reason why he hasn't really done anything since is because maybe he's been under some sort of contract with his parting from Facebook that he can't work in the VR space for a certain period of time. And the thing is, I looked it up, and he actually left Facebook in March 2017, which is actually 5 years this month. So it could be that contract period is up, and now he can talk about stuff and maybe get back into the game again.
Very likely. Very likely. I mean, it's no surprise that he would have been silenced as part of his kind of buy-off and then step down and all that. But I think I can't wait to hear more from Palmer, to be honest, because he's the reason I got into all this. And
same.
Without that original like Carmack and Luckey video, talking about VR and just bringing that idea back to the forefront again, like, wouldn't be sitting here doing this.
Well, especially now, if you see what like Oculus now is. This guy needs to come back really, really fast.
Well, the vision has changed dramatically.
I should say.
But it's an interesting piece. So if you want to go and check it out, go follow Palmer Luckey on Twitter and check out his blog post there. So if he makes a return, then obviously we'll let you know. Maybe we can get him on the show. He would be like my dream guest, I think. Imagine that.
Love to have him along.
I do wonder if it's like, because there's so much like controversial stuff also floating around him, that's not gonna hurt him to like kickstart a new VR company.
I think so actually. I think that might be an issue because I still think a lot of people blame him for the sell-off to Facebook. I think that's a large part. Then the Anduril company, which is, it's controversial to say the least. To go from VR to this kind of field.
Even in hindsight, I think he did the right thing because we wouldn't be where we are now without that sell-off point. I
agree. Yeah.
So although we might not be in the direction necessarily that we want, VR wouldn't be in as good a state as it is in now without that.
I completely agree. Although we don't know like how different it would have been if, for example, Valve would have bought Oculus instead of Facebook, of course.
Well, they do things on Valve time, so we probably have had one game.
Yeah.
Well,
they have one headset. Yeah.
The interesting part is this guy still has all the contacts that he built up throughout the years. I remember this like Kickstarter video where Gaben said like we totally support what he's gonna do here. So what if he goes back to that and be like, Gabe, I'm sorry for betraying you, for selling it to Meta or Facebook, and let's try again. Let's do something new here. Steam Deck 2.0 on your face.
Fingers crossed.
The thing for me with any maker, someone who's actually created something, brought pieces together, gotten it to lift off, like Oculus did with Palmer. Palmer's still a young guy, right? I mean, he could easily have another 50 years on the planet, and that's a lot of time to make stuff, build stuff. You can start from scratch, and he's got the money behind him, and his name's out there. So that's what I'm looking forward to. You know, it doesn't matter what kind of was in the past. You know, we've got a chance to kind of start from scratch, and so these seeds are really interesting. But for me, it's really interesting because if you understand what another I'll say developer or new business founder has gone through, and that's the steps he's kind of promised with his like blog posts, is that he'll step through that journey. So it could be quite insightful for someone who's, you know, maybe not working VR, but they're working some other, you know, mechanism, a prototype, a VR accessory, even something completely unrelated. But it could be really informative for somebody who's looking to start off on their own. And those are the people we might be thanking for a future product. You know, who knows? The smell-o-vision that we're still lacking in VR, for example, or some kind of haptic feedback. You know?
So okay, well, this is amazing. I think this kind of sums up. This is where we can end it. Is so sadly, it's Bradley is in the chat. You know, the all-knowing oracle that knows everything of what's coming. Said so Luckey can't be any more controversial than Zuckerberg. Well, I mean, they both are controversial in their own you know, right. So yeah, maybe that does weigh up. I don't know. Interesting stuff. I do get excited about this because you know, like this sounds like possible competition as well in a way. Maybe in a small way, big way. I don't know. We'll see.
Well, he's got the money to bankroll it, so
that's
fingers
true.
Crossed.
Yeah.
So first bit of news then. We're a bit late getting into the first bit of news, so I'm going to rattle through this. But it's good news for us all because, like I said earlier, it's felt like a little bit of a dry sort of spell the last few months. You know, we haven't really had the new and exciting VR games coming to the Quest like we did, you know, later on of last year with Resident Evil 4, for example. I'm not saying we didn't have any great games. We've got games like Green Hell, for example, Cosmonious High, but I'm talking about games that would make people outside of the VR bubble get excited, you know, that go out, see like, you know, Resident Evil 4, for example, and say, you know what, this VR thing, I've kind of kept my eye on it. I'm going to go and buy a headset and check this game out. So that's kind of what I'm hoping for. We get more of soon. Well, next week, Meta will be hosting their annual VR gaming showcase where they're going to be spilling the beans on what new titles we can expect to be playing on Quest later this year. The showcase will be taking place online on Wednesday, the 20th of April at 10 a.m. Pacific Daylight Time, which is 6 p.m. for us Brits, 7 p.m. for my European friend, and 1 p.m. for my Canadian brothers over there. It's going to be aired on YouTube, Facebook, Twitch, and Oculus TV. And I'm sure there's going to be people live streaming the event as well, including myself, if you want to experience it together. We've had some developers already confirm via Twitter that their games are going to be part of the showcase, so you can expect to see Among Us VR, which is pretty cool. I think a lot of people are excited about that, especially the younger crowd. Saints and Sinners Chapter 2 Retribution. We're going to see more of that, which, you know, Saints and Sinners, fantastic game. Yeah. And then also a new game from Red Matter developers, Vertical Robot. So interested to see what they've got cooking up behind the scenes. But any sort of games that you'd really like to see or anything you'd like to see announced during this showcase, guys?
I think like maybe, again, like a mix of genres I would like to see. Like we've had like a particular style, I think, a lot, but you know, I've said it a couple of times in the show before. I would really like to see, for example, another strategy game, more strategy genre. Maybe
Command and Conquer would be perfect in VR. I think, you know, overlooking the battlefield like that.
Yeah,
we've got city builders coming, so you know that kind of real-time military strategy game is kind of there's a hole in the market for that for sure. Yeah,
I would really like to see something like that.
I want something like we had Niantic recently talk about Peridot, their new offering, kind of like Pokemon Go and this type of thing. But we still don't have in VR a pet game, like a game where you can have some kind of pet.
A VR Tamagotchi.
Yeah, I think we talked about like
cool.
Mogo, something
right?
where you'd be attracted to kind of play with this thing. The difficulty for me in the design camp is like if it's not in a social spectrum, if it's not on like a platform delivered, I can show my pet off. Anything, you know, if it's just I'm going to log into my game and play with my pet and then I'll log out again. I don't know if it has that sticking power. Like,
yeah, it would
once
have
you
to
get
be
it,
integrated
and you
like
can have that
Oculus
pet.
Home or something, right?
That's what I was going to
Exactly.
say.
Yeah.
Right.
That's what I was
If
going to say. If you don't log into your Oculus Home, it's like crapped all over your home. You have to scoop it all up afterwards.
But that's not
Nintendo's,
gonna that won't drive you to you just be annoyed at it and you won't go play with it, right? But if it's always there, more like a Clippy, right? But it's like it's always there. When
Clippy, oh my
you
God.
log in,
Not annoying.
Virtual Clippy.
but not annoying. But you know what I mean? Like, it's ever present. That's what I mean.
Yeah,
like
yeah,
it's there, and you have to look after it, or you
What
want
if
to look
they
after
just
it.
integrate the BOGO thing they started off? You know,
Exactly. So I've been
think they
playing
could use
BOGO
that, but-
recently, and I think BOGO is almost the perfect example of something that's like super adorable, really easy to deal with, has that like room scale element, but you'd have to come at platform level. So it'd have to come as part of some bigger announcement that's like,
Yeah.
okay, we're gonna revamp social, and all our platforms are connected now, and this is where you're going, and it's not Horizon. You know, that's what
It's
I would
not Horizon,
say
yeah.
in terms of that message.
It's not a bad idea, though. I think nurturing some sort of virtual pet is a great idea, especially for the younger crowd. But personally, I think I'd really like to see Boneworks Project 4. It's been so quiet since the initial announcement, which was like 2-3 years ago now. And the developers, Stress Level Zero, are clearly working on it because they did tease that they have a trailer for the game ready, but they just haven't shown it yet. So
Yeah, they're probably
but,
waiting then, right?
I don't know. Like
Fingers crossed.
last year, we were expecting this too. I think
True.
they know that they have a bigger showcase, and that is their own Node channel.
yeah, maybe,
So-
maybe.
But I mean, yeah, I
They
would
could do it
expect
both, right? Because I think that the audience for those two are very different still. Like the Node audience, and you have
But
like the Oculus audience. Yeah, I think that they could
it's
do
just
both.
like
of
you
them.
know. You know what I feel like? Brandon just loves new technology too. So he must have like a PlayStation VR 2, and he's like, oh well, this is even better. So it feels almost like he wants to keep postponing it with just better hardware that comes out or something. But
Maybe.
he should definitely show something now. I think people start to forget about Project 4.
Yeah.
I mean, most people don't even know it got like announced by the man himself. Was
Mike Verdu.
Mike, our best
Mike
friend.
Verdu, yeah.
And then maybe we finally get some footage as well from like Splinter Cell and Assassin's Creed. Do you think that we'll be able to see any of that already on that showcase?
I don't know. I'd love to
No,
see
I
some
don't.
GTA San Andreas VR gameplay. Just
Yeah,
even if it's
something
just like a
like-
small snippet.
Yeah.
I just want to see what it looks like from a VR perspective.
Yeah,
but-
I think they should at least, and we know that they're gonna isn't it Vertigo Games who has like some Deep Silver IPs in their hands that they're making games with? I think that's what they said at the Connect last year, like the Metaverse conference. But they need to at least have 2-3 banger new titles with a known IP to it, because if they're gonna be like, oh, so this is what's coming out next month, this is or coming out today, and then we don't know what's coming for the like whole year, we're just gonna go on with the same prom we already had.
I think for them, the focus over the last few months has been heavily on like Horizon and like, we're working on these productivity things in Horizon. And
But Horizon is a game for them too, just saying. For them, Horizon
Yeah.
is also a bit of a gamified experience.
But it feels like, especially compared to end of last year, they've taken the foot off the gas in terms of like pushing out. Like this is the Quest 2 and it's a gaming console. It's a VR gaming console. Seems like the tone has shifted the last few months at least.
Yeah.
Hopefully this new show will show that they're committed to gaming, and they've got some, like you say, some bangers in the bag, because there is competition on the horizon, although we'll be talking about that a little bit later on, with PSVR 2. Although it's not a direct competitor, the quality of the games is going to be so vast between the two platforms that they need to show that this is what we've got on our platform, and this is why you need to choose a Quest over any other headset. But let's see what happens. Like I say, mark your calendars. It's going to be on Wednesday, the 20th of April. And no doubt we'll be talking about whatever gets announced during the next podcast. So there we go. Talking about new games, if you're on PC and you're looking at the new releases on Steam and you're kind of just sick and tired of seeing those anime VR titties, then don't worry. I got you covered. Because yesterday I found this little hidden gem of a game called Paradox of Hope, after the developer posted a trailer of it on the Oculus subreddit. Now, it's currently in alpha, so it's still very early days. It's made by a solo developer, but it actually looks pretty promising. The developer states that the game is heavily inspired by Metro 2033, and as you can see from the gameplay footage, you can really see this. A lot of the game mechanics are practically identical. There's moments in the trailer where you sort of you see them interacting with like spiderwebs with like a lighter. There's another bit in it which is very much similar to like Saints and Sinners, where the actual character is smoking like a cigarette, and the way that they interact with like an inventory system, which is a backpack, straight out of Saints and Sinners, and also the way you can like kind of flip the knife around is also straight out of Saints and Sinners. But I think I thought the trailer looked really cool. I was like, hey, this is really impressive from a solo dev. And I'm kind of surprised, you know, like Nathy said, you know, that Meta announced that they're working with some deep silver IPs that in all these years in VR, we haven't actually seen like a proper Metro game in VR. We've come close with like Arctica 1. I think that was the closest we ever really got, because it was like the sort of umbrella company. What was it, 4A Games? And I remember Rowdy getting in trouble calling his
because
Arctica 1
oh my days.
video. Metro.
Oculus did not like that at all.
He had to change it.
Which
but
I didn't. I didn't.
I thought this looked really cool, so I thought it was worth sharing on the show.
I'm so happy that they still like. I just know that it's kind of hard to sell this on PC, like sales wise. I don't know if they're gonna get rich with this, but I'm happy that that there's still people who just think like, I'm just gonna make something on PC that looks great.
Yeah, and we've kind of got like this style of game, you know, with Into the Radius. You know, that's a very sort of similar game. But Into the Radius is kind of a bit more open world. What the developer of Paradox of Hope says is that this will be a very much a linear, story-driven campaign, which is an original story according to him. And alongside this story, you've also got like a kind of a raids mode, which is like an endless mode where you can fight enemies with random level generation. So quite an ambitious project, especially from a solo dev. But you know, props to whoever's responsible for it so far, because I think it looks pretty good. If you're actually interested in the game, the developers just opened it up for alpha testing in his Discord, and I've linked the description. I've linked the Discord link in the description of this video, so you can go and check it out, sign up for alpha testing, provide some critical feedback, and hopefully make it into the game we all hope it will one day be. So yeah, that is Paradox of Hope, one to have on your radar.
At the beginning of that, Mike, I heard you say Metroid-style game instead of Metro, and I got very confused for about the first 2 minutes.
Did I say Metroid?
No. It's probably just me not hearing you properly. But
Metro 2023 inspired VR game, Paradox of Hope. We've got a little bit of glimmer of hope there. There you go. Now, let's talk about VR hardware with the Pico Neo 3, because I think this was the big news from the last couple of weeks. I kind of want to give you a bit of a background story on Pico to kind of get you up to speed. But basically, the Pico Neo 3, it's a standalone VR headset. It originally launched way back in May 2021 to consumers in China. Spec-wise, the Neo 3, very similar to the Quest 2. At its core, it has a Snapdragon XR2 chipset from Qualcomm with 6 gigabytes of RAM, has the same 1832 by 1920 resolution per eye, running 90 hertz, although Quest 2 can run up to 120 hertz. Has 4 cameras on the front plate for inside-out tracking, similar FOV, similar looking controllers, also similar sort of price, comparable to the China market as it is in UK and US. So essentially, it's a Quest 2 for China, as Facebook, Oculus, Meta can't sell their products there. When I spoke to Pico way back then, they were working really hard on bringing Western VR developers to port their games to the Chinese audience. They were helping them in any way they possibly could. They were helping them with the port themselves. They were funding them, and even in some instances, buying 10,000 copies of certain games upfront as an incentive to get devs to port their games to the Pico. And they were sorting out all the language and localization issues. Apparently, the porting process was pretty straightforward, as the controller layout is practically identical to the Quest 2. Then we had 2 variants of the headset, which were later available to businesses in the US and Europe. We had the Pico Neo 3 Pro and then the Pico Neo 3 i, the i having built-in eye tracking. Yep. But they weren't available to consumers. So you could buy one under the guise of a business, but there wasn't really any reason to be honest. Then, around August of last year, ByteDance, the company that owns TikTok, bought Pico for just shy of $300 million, which was pretty crazy. And we now see that we're in a position where we've got two big media giants in the VR space. We've got Facebook, stroke Meta, and now we've got like ByteDance and TikTok. So fast forward this week at Laval Virtual in France, Pico announced that the Neo 3 will be available soon to consumers in both the UK and Europe with their new model called the Neo 3 Link. Now, there's no word on a US launch yet, but I feel like that's probably coming soon after this kind of initial market test. And this is what they said. This is a test. They actually even called it a beta test, this kind of like launch. The Neo 3 Link will be available for 449 euros or 399 British pounds. I believe Europe can pre-order now with shipping from the 24th of May, with UK pre-orders and shipping coming a little bit later in the summer. So essentially what we have here is a headset that's basically a Quest 2 and essentially priced at the same price as the 256 gigabyte model Quest 2, same storage size, 256 gigabytes. However, there's a couple of added benefits that you get if you bought a Pico Neo 3 Link. The first is that it comes with an Elite style strap where the battery is stored in the back of the strap. So you get better weight distribution and a more robust strap out of the box. And secondly, which I think is most important, you get a DisplayPort link cable included in the box. So where Quest 2 uses, a link cable, which you have to buy as an additional accessory at like what, $80, 80 pounds, quite expensive for a cable. And they sort of, they compress the image and they send it down a USB 3 cable. What Pico are doing is it's actually like a DisplayPort cable. So you plug it into your graphics card and apparently you get compressionless, native resolution at 90 hertz, playing Steam VR content on your headset. So I think in that sense, that's really cool. And I think that's a great idea. It's kind
Does
of
it still
almost
charge your headset then? No, I guess not.
Good question, actually.
Nice,
it's a great question, and I don't actually know the answer to that. Actually,
there's not power delivery. I don't think over that
question.
spec. The other thing that I was thinking was, how DisplayPorts oftentimes have hooks into the card. One of the things you'd want to be worried about is if you use that type of cable and then you trip the cable, you could end up damaging your card. So there's pros and cons to this solution.
But I think what I was going with this is that it kind of fills a void in the market that Rift S previously once held, right? Yeah. And it's kind of like it's affordable, like £300, £399, 450 euros. It's kind of like that sort of price range, and it's offering like a compressionless Steam VR compatible inside-out tracked headset. I think it's kind of like an interesting market there.
Yeah, it is.
So it can also do wireless PC VR, by the way, using Wi-Fi, just like the Quest 2 does. And actually, Guy Godin is working on virtual desktop support for Pico. It's not released now, but he said potentially it'll be released in the future. So that's kind of an interesting side to it as well. The kind of question is, like, who is this for? As we know, and we've discussed on previous episodes of the podcast, is that in Germany, for example, the Quest 2 cannot be sold right now because of issues with the German government and Meta, which still haven't been resolved, and it doesn't look like it's going to be resolved. So the German market certainly are probably going to snap this one up as an alternative. I guess, if you're, anti-Meta, there's a lot of people that are out there that are, and you don't want to tie your social media account to a VR headset, this is another option. Obviously, as we know, Pico are owned by TikTok, so potentially you're running into the arms of another big sort of media company, and I don't know if that's any better or any worse, but it's something to be aware of. Gaming-wise, I think this is the biggest issue for me, is that they do have a great library. Like I said, they've been working hard with developers, and they've got some great games on their platform now. So they've got Walkabout Mini Golf, they've got Puzzling Places, and they've even got After the Fall.
That's quite impressive.
Yeah.
Exactly, it's impressive. And I even reached out to Vertigo because I wanted to confirm that if you bought After the Fall on Pico, that you can play with other players on cross-platform, and they've confirmed that is actually true. So you're not sort of isolated just to the Pico ecosystem. You can play with players on Quest, you can play with players on PSVR, PC VR players as well.
This is music to my ears, Mike, because of my situation with my kids, right? That means I can get them on a Steam account, get them a headset, and boom, I can play with them again and walk about. Right there.
Exactly. So I welcome them with open arms. to, release their headsets over here. I do think they're going to have a few issues, but maybe I should ask you guys what you think first. What do you guys think of this?
I think it's healthy competition, right? I mean,
Yep.
in a way, I don't think this in any way threatens the market that Meta has, but maybe it broadens that market a little bit, makes people more interested in other headsets. And like you said, there's issues with Meta, and there's probably issues with this as well. But at the same time, it's like it's different, and that's never bad, I think.
Yep.
Yeah.
No,
I think that like hardware wise, they're well established.
yes.
But then on the software side and the content and that kind of stuff, they have to build this from the ground up for consumers. So they have to build this from scratch. Well, Meta, Oculus is like an ecosystem that has been, evolving for many years now. So they are kind of starting at a point where they are just about to start the race. So I think we have to give them some time to see what they're gonna do. I think they said they have around 120 games that it already launches with. But then, what are those games? If there's a lot of 1 hour of bowling and 1 hour of darting again, then I don't know if that's gonna keep people busy. It's very interesting, and I think they are going to be successful in some ways because not only of Germany, but you need to know that here in Europe there's barely any advertisement for Quest. They're also not everywhere in every store. I know that Pico is working to get these in stores too. Most of the Quest 2 advertise, we spoke about this before, Horizon is North America only. Giveaways are usually North America only. All the events are very centered around North America as well. So Europe isn't necessarily, being involved in any way. So as a consumer who buys a Quest 2, it's also not like you really belong to the rest of the club. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I think this will kind of give them a marketing-wise a freebie, right? Yeah.
And as we know, watch time on TikTok surpassed YouTube, over the last year. So they've got this huge platform that they can use for advertising. And if they leverage that, it's going to be super smart for them. The only problem is that the headsets look so alike, other than the fact that it's got a black stripe.
That's true.
On the lower half. They look so alike, you could easily be confused between the two products if you're a newcomer to the space.
This is what I said before, LEDs. If you put some Razer stuff on it, if you make this like a Razer kind of headset, that's it. Yeah. That's all you have to do. So if they just paint this whole thing black again and they put some lights on it here and there, put some not tribals, that's a bit old school, but you get my point. Like something kind of cool to it, or they do a limited edition. Let's say they have an exclusive game that we don't know, that there's no confirmation, but let's say they would bring Halo to VR for real this time, and they bring out a Halo themed VR headset.
Yeah.
And it's like a branded one, because that's the thing. I think this is very cool stuff, and I think everything about they know how this whole thing works. This is not a company who's like, oh, we jump into VR. They have been doing this for a while now. They seem to be confident for the next step. It's just that Meta right now is struggling to make the Quest interesting with content. If you look at you hear this everywhere now, the retention rate on headsets isn't that great. People seem to be entertained by it for 2-3 months, then it ends up on the shelf because there is no roadmap on what's coming. The consistency of content is also all over the place. Some months you get great games, then a few months there's nothing there, or there is something there but doesn't match with what you experienced before. So if they are able to crack the code or have some genius people behind the scenes who understand content, who understand because it seems like everyone is struggling now to keep people entertained in VR. If Pico knows how to do that, and that's with exclusives, so they buy some companies, they acquire some studios, because that's the problem now. How are you going to get Beat Saber on this headset? You don't, because Meta owns the company now. So if they're smart, they look around, do an offer to the Gorilla Tag guy, for example.
It's funny.
That's the kind of
Gorilla
stuff.
Tag was the game that came to mind as well.
Yeah.
But you're right. They won't be able to not natively at least. Obviously, you can connect it to Steam and play Beat Saber and the other games, but natively, you're not going to be able to play Beat Saber, Echo VR, Medal of Honor, Resident Evil 4, Vader Immortal, Grand Theft Auto, the upcoming game.
Yeah.
They all are owned by Oculus. So,
well, I mean, with After the Fall, they already kind of do something that is quite impressive. I gotta say, like the fact that but of their like announcements that they made, they seem to be very confident. Where they're like, yeah, we're gonna make it with just After the Fall and these other titles, and they think that's enough to fish hook people into this thing. But it's not enough.
What I hope is that, like they said, because they did say it was a beta test, this whole like UK Europe launch thing. And one thing that was super impressed with, I've never seen this before, is that if you bought a Pico Neo 3 Link now, and then something better comes within the next year or so, I think they said, that you'll get 35% off the next headset.
Yeah, okay.
And I was like, that's kind of interesting.
That is interesting, but let me tell you, I have a funny feeling about this. This is just one big marketing trick. They already have the new hardware. They already are working on it, and they know that people want that. So
and they're going to release it 1 year and 1 month from now.
Well, exactly. I don't know when, but this discount is linked to something that is maybe really epic that they're working on, and they're just using this discount to get people already interested in the next thing, because this discount is like a smart way to kind of have people's attention, like, oh, but I bought this, so an incentive. Because if the games are not the incentive, then maybe this discount will, right?
Maybe, yeah.
So it's just the content. If they are able to bring games, experiences, a social system as well to the table, and they use TikTok in a smart way, because I'm not talking about TikTok like show like ads of 10 seconds of cool headset like you see with Meta now, where it's like, oh, I can go fitness and I can do this. No, you have all these influencers on the platform, let them use the headset, do events, do your own convention, your own VR convention or something. I don't know, do your own showcase. But yeah, that's the thing that holds back my excitement right now.
But do you think they're already at that stage? Because that's like that's like full investment. Do you think
that
they
need to catch up, Rowdy? They need to catch up. Well, if you have invested, you're not gonna make it in the VR scene. If they're just thinking that this is kind of like the same with the beta test. Like, how serious are you about it? Like, you can't just. This is the moment to step in.
I think timing wise, it's a bit strange, because we're kind of like, we're on the verge of new hardware. Like Quest 2 is 18 months.
That's why the discount is there.
Yeah, you're probably right. But like the thing is, like, Quest 2 has been out 18 months now. Had this move happened earlier in Quest 2's life cycle,
it's like pandemic, so it's like
I understand. But what I'm saying is, a lot of people now are looking towards Cambria, looking towards PSVR 2. Yeah. So, maybe if they're just testing the waters, getting their ducks all lined up in a row, ready for their next headset launch, which hopefully will be more viable competition for these new next-gen headsets, then I think this is going to be a really interesting play. But yeah, like I said, this is kind of like a soft launch for them. So it's going to be interesting to see how Europe react to this, and whether it does get adopted by, sort of like the European audience.
I don't know.
What were the launch markets again, Mike, in terms of where it's coming to now?
Pardon?
What were the launch markets?
Europe first, so the whole of Europe, and then UK in the summer, and then I would imagine US will be later.
I don't think it was whole Europe. It was like Spain, Netherlands, Germany, a few countries. Okay. But I don't think it was entire Europe. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I heard like a list of countries. Right. But the thing, as I said, like, there are some benefits for them to be in the European market, because Oculus changed to Meta now. A lot of people here don't know what Meta is. They keep calling it Facebook. I see articles all the time here, like Facebook does this and Facebook does that. Well, officially, that's not their name anymore. As I said, if they can get it into the stores at least, that's already a good start, because Quest, like, I know in America you have Walmart and Best Buy and blah, blah, and they're like headsets that you can buy everywhere off the shelf. But here, that's so rare. Like, I never see that stuff on the shelf here. So like a country like this where we love tech, you would think it's on the shelf, but it's not.
Yeah. And I think you're right, actually, with Meta rebranding, they've lost their brand identity. in a certain degree. So it's a good time actually to introduce a new headset that looks practically identical.
Well,
because you're like, there's a Meta one and there's a Pico one. Well, which one's the Oculus?
Well, I think what they just need to do is like they need to first of all change the name, get rid of this Neo 3 Link, blah blah blah, give it a cool name. If they really go for that gaming kind of vibe, then do something else. What if it was the TikTok headset? Well, what if there's a TikTok logo on the front? I mean, TikTok is like the most popular platform ever. Maybe. So use it in your favor, I would say. Yeah. But I don't know.
I should highlight that although they're owned by TikTok, unlike Facebook, you don't need a TikTok account to sign into this thing.
No.
It's a Pico account, and one thing that has been a bone of contention on the Meta side is the Facebook login requirement, and they did say they were going to remove it, and maybe they've been waiting for that announcement. To hold it as a bit of an ace up their sleeve to disrupt,
but completely remove it, or just make a new account thing and it's still linked, but now people feel like the data isn't going anywhere. Create
an Oculus account,
okay?
But they need to undo it, and they need to do it fast, I think. And maybe this will be announced during the gaming showcase.
But that's what I'm saying. So it's a weird timing, but there is also a time window to just, because it's a beta. This is nothing like big just yet. It's more of a soft launch in that sense. And I hope this beta is serious and not just some kind of marketing thing, because they really need to listen to the people who buy this. Because I don't know if Pico already has the manpower or girl power to really make this the biggest gaming thing ever. They constantly leaned on the Steam VR thing, like, you can play Steam, but like PC VR, like, what are you gonna there's nothing new coming out anymore, so that's not enough for someone to get into VR to buy it. It's a nice feature, great, but
one thing I will say, having tried the hardware, because I've got two Pico Neo 3s here. One is like a Chinese one that he imported, one they sent over and provided with a kind of US developer account. But I will say that the hardware is actually good. It's on par really with what Quest offers. There's some pros and cons, but on the whole, it's pretty much what you would expect or what you would want from a hardware. The software is a little bit lacking, like the home environment and stuff like that, and like the store and everything. But like you say, if they can up the ante on that, then we've got some pretty decent competition on our hands in the future potentially. But it'd be interesting to see how this test goes.
It does seem to be like a bit of a niche seller, for all those fringe cases that you don't want to use a Meta headset for. This is a pretty decently priced new entry to the field. So
it's just like the problem is like most consumers don't care if the headset is from China or from America. They just want to play games, and they don't care about privacy, sadly. That's the world we live in. You mentioned
that, Nathan, because my inner Kent Bai was just shouting out, going, what are their privacy policies? I know it's published from the Meta side, but I just, what are they saying? What are they saying about the treatment of their platform?
Well, this is what makes me laugh about especially some of like the more vocal people in the community that have been so anti-Meta over the years. And we give Meta criticism where it's due, I think, but these people have been very anti-Meta, but now they're just jumping into the laps of Pico and like their lapdog lapping it up. And I'm like, mate, you have no idea. You have no idea. At least like you say, the laws and regulations are there in the US. Although they've broken them over the years, but with China, it really is like you're in the Wild West there in terms of like data and stuff.
Well, in the end, almost every headset that you see out there comes out of a factory in China. So
it's true. But so that is. I think they're actually made in the same factory. I think I remember reading that.
That'd be unsurprising.
But so that is Pico Neo 3 Link. If you're in Europe, it's available to pre-order now. If you're in the UK, it's coming this summer. If you're in the US, probably a little bit later than that. But it's going to be interesting to follow their progress. And I wish them the best of luck. Pico Neo 3. So next topic is about Horizon. Horizon.
Oh, God.
As Meta announced last week that select US-based creators that are over the age of 18 can make in-game items and sell them to the community through Horizon Worlds.
Oh, desks. They need desks.
Exactly. Everyone needs a gaming desk in their virtual home. So just take off the
But you need
Rec
to be
Room
over
branding
18,
and get
Nathan.
Horizon on there and start
Yeah.
selling that thing, Nathan.
You need to be over 18, so
And I need to
Oh, yeah,
live
sorry.
in the US, sadly.
yeah.
You need to live in the US. Unfortunately, you're in the wrong country.
Yeah.
But yeah, they stated that this is the kind of their first step towards the long-term vision of the metaverse, where creators can earn a living and people can purchase digital goods, services, and experiences through Horizon Worlds. So this could be clothing for your avatar, it could be your gaming desk, it could be a paid experience or world access, could be your virtual pet, like Zim mentioned earlier. It could be a range of things. But this is all stuff that's made by the community and sold to the community. So it's kind of like a nice community ecosystem. A few sort of media outlets like Upload VR, they were kind of like, hey, Meta, what's the revenue split like for, these items that are sold?
Yeah.
What do the creators get out of this? And they provided some interesting numbers. So they said that if you're a creator and you sell a digital item in Horizon Worlds for $1, for example, the Meta Quest store fee will be 30 cents. So 30% of your $1 is the Meta Quest store fee.
Wait,
then
store fee. Okay.
Yep. Then on top of that, you get Horizon platform fee, which is 17 cents, 17%. So essentially leaving the creator with 53 cents, and that's before them paying any taxes locally if they hit some sort of threshold. So
Okay.
essentially,
So are those fees per dollar, or do you pay that? Because that's like a weird. Why don't you just say like it's 53%? Why do they say with the fees?
All right, Rowdy, I'm getting to that. Calm
God
down.
damn it, Mike! Come on, like.
So essentially, Meta will be taking 47% on each sale within Horizon, leaving the creator with 53% revenue share.
So
I should also mention
scale up, like it's not
fixed
like
at
it's
the
a
moment.
fixed fee.
Linear.
It's a fixed fee at the moment. At the moment, it's
At
fixed.
the moment.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So Meta take 47%, creator gets 53% on anything sold within Horizon Worlds. That's from the figures that they've provided to Upload VR.
Wow.
They do, I should also point out, they do also provide creator bonuses, and they do have a creator fund, and both of these aren't subject to these fees. So please bear that in mind. A lot of the outlets didn't mention this, like CNBC, who report on this kind of stuff, clickbait headline, and they're just kind of like, oh, it's bad. There is actually some good to this. Meta do have a $10 million fund to boost creation in Horizon Worlds. And they're also giving these bonuses out for creators that do well in Horizon Worlds. And they're not subject to these fees that I'm talking about. But anyway, let's just talk about the revenue split. So like I said, creator 53%, Meta 47%. A lot of people got like really up in arms about this. And I think maybe if you're not on the creator side of things, you possibly would be and think it was outrageous. But let's talk about YouTube, for example. YouTube charge a very similar rate, actually.
Yeah, someone donated what was it in this chat, $2?
Yeah, that's
so
all
how
gone
much
to YouTube, pretty much.
Okay.
but like if you're a YouTube partner, you've hit the YouTube partner level. The revenue split is about 45% to YouTube, 55% to the creator. So not far off what Meta are offering. But the big difference here is that YouTube is a platform that has 2 billion users that you could potentially be exposed to, if you make good content. Meta, on the other hand, is still locked to the US only, and I think at max, I think I saw max users with 300,000 users at this point. So there's a big difference here, and this is where I think, rightly so, people are kind of a bit upset about it. And there's also another thing that's kind of a bit like hypocritical that has been pointed out by Rota VR, and Apple kind of had their little dig at Zuckerberg recently for this, because during the Meta Connect thing where Facebook said we're going to call ourselves Meta now, Mark said something that a lot of people hung on to, and I'll read it out verbatim. He said, "This period has also been humbling because as big of a company as we are, we've also learned what it's like to build for other platforms, and living under their rules has profoundly shaped my views on the tech industry. Most of all, I've come to believe that the lack of choice and high fees are stifling innovation, stopping people from building new things, and holding back the entire internet economy. We've tried to take a different approach. We want to serve as many people as possible, which means working to make our services cost less, not more. Our mobile apps are free, our ads business model is an auction, which guarantees every business the most competitive price possible. We offer our creator and commerce tools either at cost or with modest fees to enable as much creation and commerce as possible, which kind of isn't indicative of what they're offering here as a creator split in Horizons.
Yeah, the issue I have with this, because we made the comparison with YouTube, but even though the platforms are similar, with they both being social platforms, the difference with this is that you're selling an item. While with YouTube, you're not selling a video, or in the majority of cases you're not. You're putting your video available on a platform, ads are being placed on that, and then YouTube shares that ad revenue. But you're not getting anything from the ad revenue that Horizon is getting if they're placing ads around your environment or whatever it is. That revenue is not being shared. It's actually the actual digital item that you created and that you're selling through their platform. So it's only for the platform fees that you're paying. And then I do find the percentage very, very high, because it's like going to a store or selling an item through a store, and then they take half of the profit, or not even half of the profit, half the cost, not even considering the profit that you make. So I think
the problem is that these percentages stack. Like I said, you get 30% on the Metastore fee for the transaction, and then 17% for Horizon. Now, like I said, I think if you were exposed to 2 billion users, I think it would be pretty reasonable because of the potential audiences there if you make something amazing. But in these kind of really sort of like early days of this kind of like metaverse digital economy, I think it should be much, much less to kind of kickstart the creator economy. It should be, the percentage share should be better. And I do understand they've got this fund and the bonuses, but still I think the percentages, at least until we hit scale, should be much lower.
That's the thing, like, sorry?
Oh, sorry, Nathan, you go ahead.
Yeah, so for as you said, for an app that is North America only, and for an app that hasn't even proved itself to be a like working metaphors in the long run, it should be way lower. Like in Rec Room, it's 30%. But Rec Room is a well-established platform for many years now, and it also never forced it onto people in a way where it doesn't. It's like a natural thing that just grew into the platform. So I don't know, it's very interesting, but it's still like there are people even with this high percentage that just give it like a few months maybe or 6 months and they're going to be like super rich.
I hope so. I hope so that this creates like a, like he says in his vision, that people create a career potentially out of making digital items.
It's already happening. This is a fact, but you're going to be restricted to a certain degree with this one. But on the other side, if you are starting to build now in this niche platform, but it actually blows up and then it becomes bigger. But that's the same with everything right now. NFTs, cryptos, if you invested into it early, then you might be on a winning streak here.
Yeah, that's right. Question, like what is the cost to create here? I'm comparing this to when Apple did the 70-30 split back on their App Store, right? You had a model whereby, I'm trying to remember exactly, if you were listing for free, you'd be paying nothing, and I think it was like $100 or something to kind of get entry to the toolkit there. Is there a cost for creating?
The tools are free. And the thing is, with the Apple model, they actually took 15% up until $1 million in revenue.
Yeah.
So that's the difference. And I think that would have been a smarter move. And like you say, had it scaled or had tiers based on, how big the platform grows, or because at the moment it's so small. Like you say, if you were a world builder now and you had the skills to do it, you would be better off building in Rec Room right now or VR Chat or another platform.
So it's very familiar to me when Amazon took over Twitch and offered anyone in the affiliate scheme, as you said, as you improve up toward partner, your breakout is better. But up to that point, it was 50-50 split. And so it doesn't seem to me, like it doesn't seem unfair to me, this 53-47 split.
But that's in the
end of the day, you're given a free platform, you're given free tools. You get to create. Anything you get is gravy if you're a creator. I mean, if you're setting up a business, maybe that's too small and it's just not viable. But
I don't really agree with
you'll
that
be able
because
to set up under that.
Yeah, I don't really agree with that because they providing you with a platform to sell your items on. They're not creating you with a platform to generate revenue. Like with Twitch, again, the platform generates revenue from the platform itself, and it shares that revenue with its creators. But whether you create content or not for Facebook Horizons, that whatever revenue that Facebook Horizons is producing, you're not seeing any of that if people visit your things. It's only when people purchase something from you that you actually get revenue.
Yeah,
and
they're
that
not
revenue
sharing
you need to share.
They're not sharing ad revenue. They're just sharing the digital.
Yeah, exactly.
But Rowdy, what you're saying
revenue.
is, so say someone creates a virtual bathtub and it's sitting in Nathan's virtual house, and someone can go along and take a look at that and enjoy it and all that. You only earned anything. You're cut at the purchase point. After that, there's nothing. You're getting nothing for it.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, you only get something if someone buys something. Exactly.
There's no like amount of impressions or something like that. Like it's more amount of exposure that you get through the it doesn't matter how many people look at your items anymore. It doesn't matter how many people you bring into Facebook Horizons to check out your items. It doesn't matter. The only thing that matters is how many people buy from you through that platform.
Yeah.
And that's going to matter a lot more when it approaches the maturity level of Rec Room, where people can create mechanisms that do something active.
Yeah.
So for example, the building blocks of a game, if you are going to purchase from like an asset store and those are going to do something, then you have this whole concept of equivalently like royalties, right? Where it gets used. But purchase point does make it look quite unfair.
Okay, but this is something, and we haven't seen this yet because this still has to be rolled out, is so in Rec Room, you, for example, have someone who made a Five Nights at Freddy's world, okay? It's free. You can just visit it if you want. And then you can play the Five Nights at Freddy's game like you would play on a pancake screen, but then it's in Rec Room, okay? So it's the same game, but then the items that you can get, you can buy. So let's say you can slow down the mechanical animatronics before they come to you, before they eat you alive. You can buy that, or you can fly, or you can like all these things, and there you can buy them for like, I don't know, like 20 cents or something. But the thing is, and this is where I'm getting to now, is that in Rec Room, for some reason, that is accepted, and you can make money off that. Well, it's a property of someone else. I mean, Five Nights at Freddy's already exists. And this is the same with other things you see in Rec Room. Like someone could make a Jaws room, and then you can pay to get eaten by the shark, or things like that. But it's all like copyrighted material. And I think in Horizon, they're, I think, way more on top of that than in Rec Room. So you can also not just make something that is based on something and then make, I don't think they're going to allow that.
Interesting.
Because the reputation is on the line.
That's just waiting for legislators to catch up.
I know.
That'll be takedowns. That'll be. I mean, that's murky water.
I know what you mean, and it is gonna happen. But the fact that it is like right now, this market becomes bigger and bigger. I don't know where it's gonna go when they crack down on it. But I think in Horizon they're way more. They want to be way more in control of stuff like that.
Yeah, we haven't really seen that, the copyright of digital assets, in the creator space.
It's a gray area, and in Rec Room they're playing on a very dangerous path. So you have items in Rec Room, official items made by Rec Room themselves that look like 3 weeks ago there was an item that came out. It's called Aloy Man, and it's basically Tony Stark's Iron Man suit.
Right.
And they're selling that. They also once sold Hawkeye's. Like his quivers, what is it? And they put his name on it, so they put it on like Hawkeye item. Then they got like a lot of backlash, so they stopped doing that. But now there's suddenly a blaster that looks like Buzz Lightyear's blaster that might come out in the future. So even they themselves are also playing, and I don't know where this is going to end. I do see, like, let's say someone from Disney or another company, their kid is playing on Rec Room, and then suddenly they see a movie they're working on. They're like, what is this? Show me more. Yeah. And that's where this whole thing, it's going to go
especially
down.
With Disney. Disney, like, you don't want to mess with Disney or Nintendo.
Like Rec Room, like, mark my words, you can clip me on this. Rec Room will be in trouble, and I think Horizon, Meta wants to prevent that from happening. But
Yeah.
what I'm just saying is, if you don't include pop culture in some way or another, like building becomes kind of boring.
Yeah.
It just would be
You
nice
know?
to see Meta trying to reward people for bringing people to the platform. Like, for example, now imagine you make this amazing item and you show it off on platforms that actually have exposure, like YouTube or like Twitch, whatever. And people download Facebook Horizon, they go into Horizon to buy your item, to check it out. But then, you share that revenue with Facebook, and then Facebook has another person like visiting Facebook Horizon, showing off your item. But that's it. You don't make anything from that anymore. And I don't find that really, if you charge such high fees, 43% was, I believe, it's just not fair. Then you should be awarded per people that subscribe, and then how long that they're on the platform, how much time that they're there. It's very similar to how YouTube does it as well. If you bring people over to YouTube, the algorithm pushes your videos more. You get more revenue from your ads that are being shown on your videos. It's really strange to see like a strategy like this coming from a social media platform, because this is still, I don't know, like it's very early days. Why
I don't
so
know.
high fees?
It could go well. It could also go a little bit in the other direction, where you have people who are opportunists right now who see the whole like NFTs and everything like quick money. So they just buy a headset to make money, but they don't care about Horizon. They don't care about the social aspect of it, and they're just there to make quick money.
If you've got the skills to make digital assets, this is what you should probably be doing. Like, even though the percentage cut, I think, is too high right now in the current state of the industry.
But you want to be ahead of the rest.
You want to be
do
first.
it now. You do it
now.
Even if the percentage is like 80% or 90%, you jump in there, because if you are one of the first now and you make it, then you make it for the rest of your life. Maybe.
It's funny. Someone said in the chat, Jed Ranko says, a pack of crypto bros are nodding while they watch this conversation from their virtual Lamborghinis.
Well, that is happening, because all these news websites, as you mentioned as well, they're constantly looking at what Meta is doing. They don't look at like Rec Room or others. No, they look at what Meta is doing. I even saw this article of someone saying like, Horizon is like the next big virtual reality metaverse. Virtual reality metaverse. It's like saying the same thing twice in a way.
Yeah.
Like, no one has an idea of what this is, but they constantly make articles about it. So it is in the news, and that's good. So yeah, we'll see. But I'm sure people are going to get rich out of this, for sure.
Oh, I hope so as well. I hope so. One final thing I want to mention is that Meta did actually mention that Horizon could potentially be used on non-Meta headsets. So, and in that sense, the revenue split would be that Horizon still retains 17% cut, and then the headset provider's own store will take the remaining 30% cut themselves.
Oh.
So in a way, they're kind of incentivizing non-Meta headset companies to allow Horizon on their platform, because they're going to earn 30% revenue on digital item sales. So in that sense, it's actually kind of smart. But and this is kind of the whole idea with the metaverse and Horizon, was that it wasn't going to be gatekept to a single company. So it'll be interesting to see if Horizon ends up on Pico, for example. But we'll see.
It did happen before. I mean, Facebook Spaces, you could play on a Vive, you could play it on the PC platform, and you could play it on the Rift. But funny enough, just a quick mention, because I found this very entertaining. So was it last week or the week before? I don't know anymore. But Horizon was available to us, Mike, for a short moment. I don't know. It was like a time window of maybe it was like a speed run. So like Elden Ring in a way.
I'll go through this very quickly because we're burning through time. But basically, yes. So what happened was, there was a guy. I'll give him a quick shout out. His Twitter username is @irayhol. RAYHOL. He's UK VR enthusiast. He tagged me and a bunch of other UK creators in a post saying that Horizon had appeared in his game library and he could play it. So I was like, what the heck? I've not been able to do this. So I jumped into my headset. Sure enough, the app was there in my library. I could download it. I went through the tutorial. I set up my avatar. I got into 2 public worlds. One was like a kind of like a blockbuster video style world where people were doing stand-up comedy in there. Another one was just a generic world, and it was just full of kids going completely apeshit crazy. Like, I won't repeat anything that they said, because if I repeated anything they said, I would get demonetized instantly on YouTube. Like, that was the kind of level of stuff that was going on. And I was like, ooh, this isn't good. Like, bearing in mind, this is like the second world I've jumped into, and this is kind of what I'm experiencing. Not great. And there was this poor moderator in there, because apparently they're in each instance, and when the instance gets maxed out, you know, they're in another room. There's another mod there, and he was like a man working in a creche. That's what he was like. He was like he was working in a kid's nursery.
Oh my
babysitting these kids, keeping them in check. Oh, you can't really say that. You should be careful what you say.
Yeah.
You know, don't behave this way. You know, and it's like, are we at a point now where the parents are just going to throw a headset on their kid and say, yeah, go to your virtual nursery, and they're going to look after you there and keep you in line because I can't be bothered anymore?
But the thing
That's
is,
exactly what it was like.
But from the outside, they advertise it like an adult thing. But then when you're inside, so you have these mods to make sure that it's what they advertise, you know? In Rec Room, they don't do that anymore. They don't moderate kids. It's impossible.
I just hope they come up with some way of being able to, like, retina scan me to prove that I'm over the age of 18 and then just keep me in rooms that are adult only, because I just do not want to interact with these wild beings.
So instead of a Facebook account, you will have that, get your like entire organs scanned so they know you're adult Mike.
To be honest, to avoid that, yes, I'll do it.
Yeah. So funny enough, I was sitting in my bathtub, like bubbling around, and then I saw Mike saying, "Hey, you can play it now." I was like, "This is my moment," because I'm the guy who was like constantly like, "What is this thing? I don't understand. I want to try it." But the moment I got down, like I was halfway through downloading it, and then it got cut off because they found out that people were playing it. But then I was just wondering, because first we thought this was like a thing they were just going to officially launch. I knew for sure it was a mistake. But it was just so weird because then people suddenly think it's available, you know, out of the blue.
Yeah, like you say, like an hour later after I tried it, the app had disappeared from my library. I couldn't access it anymore. So it was clearly a mistake, or maybe even a test that went live that wasn't supposed to go live. But yeah, my
But it is a flip of the switch, so they can just instantly make it available for everyone.
But I think it's all to do with the moderation and the rules around this, keeping people safe.
But I think you have to take that experience, Mike, with a huge pinch of salt, because the barriers that are there weren't there. The way that environment is policed, as I can say, I've been in Horizons probably 5 or 6 times, and it's always been the most adult feeling of all 4 or 5 social platforms that I've been in. I'm talking Altspace, Rec Room, all the others, which have constant array of kids and saying things that they shouldn't and all that. But what you ended up in was it got opened, they flooded in, you flooded in with them, and of course it's going to overwhelm any construct. I wouldn't be surprised.
They were already there. I was an outsider in their world. But the thing is,
these were your subscribers.
No. They would be much more polite than that. Trust me.
Sorry.
I'd break out the paintball gun otherwise.
You mean these by their accents?
Yes, they were clearly American. Yes, but what I would say is, like, those kind of experiences was my experience with Horizon, but it's not unique to Horizon. Like you say, it happens in Gorilla Tag, it happens in Altspace, it happens in Rec Room, it happens in VR Chat, happens in every social VR platform, or probably any online social platform to do with gaming is just infested with kids. But what my point is that I don't want that. I don't want to be involved in any of that nonsense. But yeah, I'm sorry if you're watching this or you're listening to this and you happen to be like, a young person, but I hate your kind.
Oh, wow. Oh my God. This is getting
it's really interesting because it must be a time of day thing. It must be a time of day thing.
I guess so. I don't know.
Yeah.
It did feel like a creche, though. It felt like I walked into a creche, like a nursery.
Was it a creche? Was the world called creche?
Possibly. I've still got PTSD from that experience, but I digress. It's not available now in the UK or Europe. Maybe sometime in the future. We'll see.
Exclusive for an hour.
All right.
Final topic of today's show is about PSVR 2. And I have to admit, from the beginning, my prediction about this was wrong. I thought we would have an announcement by now. I suggested that we might see pre-orders open in March for an October release, just like the original PSVR did way back in 2016.
And we thought Parole was wrong in a way.
And we thought Parole was wrong, but sadly that's not the case.
No.
It seems Brian Paul from PSVR Without Parole maybe have been onto something when he suggested that the PSVR 2 headset will be delayed until 2023 because there are now further rumors suggesting the same thing. And what we had was last week, a display supply chain analyst called Ross Young said on Twitter that VR display shipments are to rise up to 50% to 15 million in 2022, despite delays to 2023 at Apple and Sony. Big jump forecasted in 2023. So what he's saying there is basically that, both Apple and Sony with their VR AR devices, they've been pushed to 2023, and the supply chain is going to see a big increase next year due to that. Now, this Ross Young guy, he is the CEO of Display Supply Chain Consultants, which, according to their website, is the leader in advanced display market research. So he does have some credibility in the space to make such a statement, which kind of makes me give it some credibility. And this, on top of what we've already heard, suggests that might actually be the case. So I just kind of wanted to let you guys know that is the case, and not keep your heart.
So sad how you bring.
I am sad. I'm genuinely sad.
I can hear you're sad.
I'm distraught.
I'm so sorry to bring you this news.
Yeah, I am sorry because I wanted to, and I hoped that it would be a different story. It does.
Stupid. Why?
Yeah.
Why they betraying my gamer soul?
Yeah,
crying.
Yeah, so we've got a little while longer to wait until we get that sweet PlayStation VR goodness.
Bro, I've been waiting for how long? Already since last year I was waiting for PSVR 2.
I know. Well, think of it this way. They have more time to make it better.
Exactly.
That's true. More games, better games, bigger games.
If it shows up ready, the same. You guys have both had, very good experiences with your PlayStation 5 so far. Yeah. If it's not ready, it's not ready. Leave it in the oven.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm so ready for it, but yeah, that seems to be the indication. We still don't have an official announcement, so it's not over until it's over, until they give us the blow, the killer blow from Sony themselves. I'll still have a glimmer of hope. I'm forever the optimist.
Quick question, lads, because I don't remember where at what event or in what forum did they originally announce the PSVR? Do you remember how that was communicated?
It was at GDC. And that didn't happen. And the thing is, they were supposed to have a big presence at GDC. Didn't happen. And we don't know the reasons why. So it could be because Apple are working on their AR headsets and they're snapping up all these displays, and Meta are doing their thing with Cambria and snapping up all these displays, that maybe the market just doesn't have enough of these components to fulfill a launch that they're ready, so that they're delaying things. I don't know.
You're gonna kill him. You're gonna kill him, Rowdy.
Yeah. So I heard there was a guy who walked by and he saw in the trash can a bundle of Resident Evil 8 and the PlayStation VR 2. I was like, but it's not gonna happen anymore. I was like, it's done. Cancel.
Brad, I don't know. Sadly, it's Bradley is still in the chat, but I'm sure he's got some predictions around this stuff.
This man always brings hope, Mike, but I don't know if that's enough to.
What does he call it? The daily copium. Yeah.
What if Brad Lynch is the guy who can bring back the PlayStation VR 2 date to this year?
Yeah, maybe.
What if he is the chosen one?
Maybe he is.
But it does suck, man. It's just I don't know if I can stand another year of only Quest. It's just I really even with San Andreas, I welcome it with open eyes, and some other games they're probably gonna announce. But I want to play on something else. I just want to play on different hardware. That's what.
Do you know what I suggest to you? Take a couple of paintballs, bro. Change your life.
I'd watch that.
Anyway,
I'd definitely watch that.
What he's saying is.
You need to up the level, and
you should make like a duo video. So Mike versus Nathie, on one side of the screen, and just
You need to do like a warehouse scale BioShock Return to Rapture Half-Life Alex mod.
Yeah.
There you go. There's an idea for you.
Your jokes don't make up for my depression of this thing not coming.
So there we go. So unfortunately, some sad news to end the show with PSVR 2 likely being delayed until 2023 with fresh rumors there. But we will let you know if anything changes, of course.
Well, at least we have something to talk about for a little bit longer on this show.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So now it's time to hand over to Zim to see what we're going to be playing over the next couple of weeks, because I have no idea what we're going to be playing. Tell us, Zim.
Well,
give us our fortnightly copium.
All right, here we go. Well, Mike, I think you've had your fill of shooters, so we should maybe take a break. So
yeah, I'm done.
This will be the week for you. There's no shooters at all in this week's releases, mentions, or whatever. We scrubbed it clean. No shooters. Okay.
That doesn't sound very promising.
That doesn't sound promising. I know. When you think about it as a gamer, you're like
I couldn't find any shooters that were good, so I went into finding something different.
Well, exactly. And this week we're not going to save the best for last. We're going to spend the best right now. So
here we go.
Little did you know, but before Nathy and Mike were kicked out of their now automated jobs at the Amazon Fulfillment Center, they were the top of their game driving forklifts. So the first game I'm showing off today is a Steam game. Best Forklift Operator is the name. This is Steam. 7th of April was when this dropped. $15, £12. This is a super realistic physics. Super realistic? I don't know where that comes from. Physics-based forklift simulator. Now, this has like a real Euro Truck Simulator vibe to it, and this is why I'm featuring it, because a lot of people are responding very positively to this game. You get to experience what the job of a forklift operator looks like. You get to participate in the training, and they show you to be ready for your challenges. You go through a couple of warehouses. Now, this is an early access title, so not all the content is there just yet. And be aware that there's no support for like steering wheels or accessories if you were really keen on using those. But aside from that, as you're driving your forklift around the warehouses that you have access to, you need to be careful not to damage equipment, bump into things, and damage stuff that'll cost your wallet otherwise. So there is a kind of a management part to this as well. A couple of Steam reviews on this just to give you a flavor for what it's like. Sarakin on Steam says, "Damn, this is fun. You can't tell from looking at the screenshots, but driving this thing is pure joy. It somehow touches your inner kid who imagined about driving these things. A must-buy for any big boy, and cheers from someone who once dreamed about driving heavy machinery, but ended up doing a desk job. Lol."
I just wonder if there's like people in the simulation as well, so you can like impale them with the forklift.
No, this is not blatant sorcery.
Or like impale one of those like brand new TVs, and you just go straight through it and then pull them up. Oh, I would love to do that. Just go straight through a cardboard box.
We need some mods for this game.
What UK came in clutch with the best comment. This game can fork off.
But no, like this kind of thing where you've got like a fully interactive cockpit driving around, the reversing, the going forward, the reversing again, the picking something up and putting it on a shelf. You'd think it'd be totally boring, but I'm telling you, these games are fun in VR.
Stop trying, Zim.
Spin on, spin on, spin on.
This is not the right audience for these kinds of games, I know. All right, next. Creative side, tap into that, all right? We've seen Vermilion. Here's another one, Painting VR. For $18, we're going up in price. And this was dropped on the 14th of April. Painting VR is going to be a popular search result. You got a massive virtual art studio, 10,000 feet, incredibly sized canvases. And what grabbed me really is, you've got all the normal stuff, paint, canvases, different colors, like what you'd expect from an art game.
Is this the same warehouse where the forklift was driving around in?
I love you guys, man. These are fucking great comments. I don't think it's the same, but that would be amazing if it was.
DLC? Is this DLC?
That would be amazing. No, this has one unique selling point, which you're going to see shortly in the video. Okay? It's got a crazy paint grill. It's got a paint spinner.
Oh my God.
You can attach brushes to the paint spinner. You pull the trigger, and it spins that paint around. And you can create, Picasso pieces of art.
Wow.
Just before you get impaled by Rowdy on the forklift. So
listen. I don't know what's up with that, but you know when we have like these like rhythm and like card gaming seasons. Like right now, I've already seen like 5 painting games so far, and they're suddenly all coming out at the same time. I love this stuff.
That's so
My
weird.
days.
But yeah, I was like, oh god, we're gonna put another one down. But yeah, that paint drill gun thing looks pretty fun.
I do. Yeah, that's kind of cool. Not gonna lie.
Because for someone who can't really paint, draw / create at all, that it just looks like fun. So at least I get my 5 minutes in that. But to be honest, for me, it was
5 minutes.
Oh, you got to be honest. All right. Let's go to the next one. As you said, Nathan, these days there's a lot of like echoes like happening among the creative chambers, and this is one that we've known that's coming for quite some time. So we've got both in parallel Little Cities coming from Dreams, and this is coming. This is important, right? Platform-wise, this is important. This is coming both to Quest and Quest 2. So that's important. That's 21st of April. This is coming up very soon. Dreams, again, studio that we like. No curved roads in this one. Simpler overall interface to its competitors. It's kind of building on islands. You get these unique little islands with little bits and pieces to them. A little bit of a delight, kind of real islander feel to Little Cities. And I also wanted to mention, just in passing, that these guys have also just announced this week on Twitter that Sushi Ben VR is coming. I'm not going to show a video for that, but just for those who might be a fan of Sushi Ben, another kind of create food in an environment game. Now, the competitor, Cities VR, which is landing just a week later on the 28th of April, brings Cities, which was a very popular management sim game from PC, to VR from Fast Travel Games. Now, what's the difference? It's got curved roads. It mimics the PC game. It's got the kind of bigger IP. It's coming a week later, but only for MetaQuest 2, right? So this one isn't coming for Quest. So you're immediately seeing where these two might kind of separate. Little Cities being the like teacup island sim, Cities VR being a little bit more complicated, a little bit more like free brushstroke feel to that game. But because of the horsepower that it takes to drive it, it's only been on Quest 2. And there still are plenty of Quest 1 owners out there who get pissed off every time something launches only on Quest 2.
But why are they delaying it?
Why are they delaying it? You mean why aren't they delaying? Why aren't they launching on the exact same day?
Well, there's your answer.
What? I don't understand that.
These are often platform level decisions, right?
Yeah.
So oftentimes the platform decides. But I'm interested.
I think it's unfortunate for both parties that this is happening. It's not good for anyone. The fact that the game we've got two city builders in VR at the same time. It's not good for anyone. But
it's definitely better for one party who has the IP name here. Compared to
true.
I think. I don't know. I might be wrong. I mean, I never really played the whole Cities thing, but I think that's also a problem here.
But I think it's the proof of being the pudding, like Zim says, once we've played both of them, we understand who they're for and what they're all about, which is difficult to, especially as a city builder, it's difficult to convey from just a trailer alone. From both halves.
One of the things that I would say is complexity can be your best friend, and it could also be your worst enemy. If it takes you 2 hours to learn the game, maybe that's what you want. Maybe you want a really intricate sim, or maybe you want something simple you can pick up in 5 minutes. There's going to be, in my opinion, there's going to be audiences for both of these, but the timing is weird. Like you'd like it at least there was a month separated, then you could kind of put your heart and soul into the one game, and even if you're a real fan of that type of game, you could do the next one then. A week apart, it's not enough space.
We've seen this many times on the Meta Store though, when games have like directly conflicted with each other in the same genre.
Or not. Zenith and Wanderer, for example, is and also Unplugged. When did Unplugged launch again? They also launched it with another game, but I don't know which one. But it's happening all the time.
Yeah. They just need to like space them out a little bit more. Give these games some breathing room and let them, stand on their own 2 feet.
Yeah.
The thing is, I kind of want. I don't understand. Like, where did the heavy hitting like disasters go? That's what I really want. Is I want my little teacup to be ridden by Godzilla and earthquakes and all that kind of stuff. I'd love to
It does
see
look
that
like
come.
Little Cities has got that with like the volcano in the middle. Like I'm sure you're going to be able to get an eruption and evacuate the city and stuff like that.
Or
That
not.
looks
I
like
don't
fun.
know enough to. Yeah, I don't know enough to say it, but that's what I would like from these city games myself. I just like to torture groups of people, just like in The Sims. So
Just like a real life.
play God.
right?
Or there's another good one. Not Populous, Black and White. I would
Black and
love
White.
if Black
Yeah,
and
great
White
game.
Oh,
came
wow.
to
Yeah,
VR.
yeah.
That would be fun. Anyway, let's move on to some mentions, some DLC that's dropping, just so if you have something new in one of your favorite titles, we've got it. First up, Synth Riders has a new violinist featuring in a new 5-song DLC pack. It's Lindsay Sterling. A very, I don't know, these days you have to have all the bells and whistles or something. It's like aerobic with her guitar. Like you got to be good at it and jumping around. The violin pieces are absolutely fantastic. Having listened to some of these tracks, I didn't get a chance to play it just yet. But again, the nice thing about Synth Riders, what I've liked in their packs that have been dropping, is that it's just very different genres of music that they keep bringing and dropping. So this violinist, absolutely glad that they're featuring. It's going to be a fun one.
I don't know what how this is happening with all these like indie devs. Same with Walkabout, they get very original and very creative with who they work with. This is really attracting people.
And I don't know if Zim saw this, but Walkabout is getting Mist DLC alongside the Labyrinth stuff.
Is that also difficult to play, or?
Well, it's not even just like a single level; it's a series of levels for Myst. So if you think it's like on par with their other DLC where they just drop a single level, a single course, not like that at all. I think it's 5 courses for Myst. Or maybe even 8.
But even if it is hard, we know the Harry Potter glitch. So
yeah.
Oh, the Harry.
Thanks to Rowdy.
No problem.
That's right.
Nice.
So we cut down the 6-hour puzzle in the beginning to find the ball to only 3 hours. Nice.
Exactly. Next one. Next little release here. So if you're into golfing, Golf Plus has just dropped a new free course called Alpine. Very forested area. If you had played, I think it was called Eagles something before, where it was a paid course for like $7 or $8. This is a new free edition, which was nice to see. It's called Alpine. It's got trees, got golf clubs, balls, as you would expect. Nothing really particularly special here, but new if you're into the golfing. There aren't that many courses, and this is why it's kind of a special ad, because there was an existing 2 tracks, one you could pay for, and now another new one. So it's a fair uplift in content.
Hey, Mike, this looks like a great place where we can retire after quitting YouTube.
It looks lovely. I can't wait. or I'm just going to go and drive forklifts. That's going to be my new job. I'm going to practice in VR.
But one day
back
he's painting.
That's it. Well, the next one I've got up. This is interesting. So this is technically a re-release or replatforming. Ultra Wings 2, right, which landed on Quest back in February, is now on PC VR. Cool. So whether you've got a Rift 5 or whatever, Ultra Wings 2 is really neat. If you like the first Ultra Wings, really kind of chilled, laid back game, this is, I'd say, manning it up a notch, right? You're not just flying light planes around. Now you've got this early access desktop build, 5 new aircraft, dozen of game modes. This is like a weird fusion for me, because it's between like calm flight and white knuckle frantic gameplay. Yeah. And one of the things that I would just say that the devs have commented on is, say you have connected up, you got slightly better visuals on PC VR. I wouldn't say they're going to blow your socks off, but it's slightly better than what you get on Quest.
Looks nice on PC though. Yeah.
It looks nice, and HOTAS support is coming. So if you really want throttle stick action, which I definitely would if I had a PC setup.
Yes.
That's how you would play this. And why would you care about the HOTAS? Because of the fine movement when you're doing battle sections. Like in this, there's gunplay, a little bit like World War I, World War II simulators you've seen in VR before. So that's in this. And you're also, the most dramatic part for me was where you're like flying an ultralight with a pistol out, shooting balloons, and trying to pilot and take off and land and do all these things at the same time. You feel like a one-man band in the sky,
Hey, so, sounds like a paintball idea to me.
Yeah.
If you crash, you get hit in the nuts with a paintball.
Yeah.
Oh. Sure. Or you can get one of those actuators that just launches you out of your chair,
Like put like a car airbag underneath your seat. It's real ejector seat, real life ejector seat. That's what. No, I'm actually looking forward to this. I've been waiting for the PC VR release to break out the HOTAS and give it a bash, because I really enjoyed Microsoft Flight Sim. Thought it was super chill, but this looks a little bit more arcadey, a little bit more fun. So,
dude,
nice.
So this week I saw Buck posting a video of him playing Star Wars Squadrons, one of these like action. I was like, dang, son, like. I totally forgot about how epic this game is with like a flight stick and everything. I was like, man, how did I even forget about it? It's almost like and it's been a while that it came out. So yeah, if you want something
is so beautifully done. Like if you've gotten into VR after Squadrons landed and you're a big Star Wars nut,
oh my days,
absolutely
dude.
take Nakey and Buck's
even the single player
and go check that out, because it's got a proper single player and it's got voracious multiplayer.
It's just the video just captivated me, where I was like, wow, man, like this is something else, you know.
Yeah. Does it run better now? Do we know? Because I know it was a challenging game to run.
True.
I don't know. Certainly better than launch, I would say. There was a major patch about 9 months ago that did change it. I mean, I spoke to Buck about his kind of promo bit of all of that as well in the background. So we had to do some work to make it run smoothly from a streaming perspective. But if you got the card, I mean, he's on a 3090 like you, Mike. So, you know, us plebeians with lower cards might not be able to run it as easily.
Yeah.
All right. Speaking of that, let's go to rocking out with Unplugged. So Unplugged, as you know, I was so sad I missed it. Remember we talked in the April Fool's one about the triangle and be able to ding it. I missed it by a couple of hours and I didn't get a chance to play it, so I was so sad. But obviously they did that, getting ready for this, which is the Riff Pack. So this is 4 tracks, like classic songs. It's got Slayer, South of Heaven. It's got Crow Killer Blues from Rob Zombie. It's got Won't Stand Down by Muse. And then my favorite of the 4, Standing in the Way of Control by Gossip. That is such a classic track. And to be able to do that with full finger-tracked, unplugged air guitar sounds great for $6. Not bad.
So when I went to the After the Fall event, the developer of this was there, because obviously this is published by Vertigo. And he showed us what it was like to play like Expert with hand tracking. And I've never seen anything like it before in my life. Like, it's one of those like almost Guitar Hero videos that you watch, when people play on Expert, and you're just like, how do people's fingers move that friggin' fast? It was super impressive, but I do still think that the hand tracking isn't quite good enough for this game yet.
Yeah,
might be with Cambria if it's better tech. But yeah, I still think there's a lot of potential in this one, but just maybe not on current gen hardware.
Yeah, and I would echo that. I think it feels, I would say, like just a notch below where you want it to be. Like, it feels pretty awesome that they got it working as well as they have, and the game itself is very well done.
I think because the developer knows the game so well, he can compensate for the quirks of the system, if you know what I mean.
But the developer can compensate for everything in a game most of the time.
You saw this live, Mike? He was doing the air guitaring.
Oh yeah, I saw it live. Yeah. GT was there. Anna Ribeiro was there. We just got out of After the Fall, and I said, "Can you just show me like how to play this like really well?" And he just blew my socks off.
Wow, cool, nice. That sounds like a YouTube video waiting to happen, actually.
Your socks, you mean, getting blown off?
Yeah.
VR? Hey, Mike, another idea.
Next video idea. Paintball rocket launcher, yeah.
Before this goes any more off track, I'm gonna tie a bow on this. One final tease. We got news of Jupitergrad 2 coming. So Jupitergrad 1, not too long ago, showed us a game that, for me, played a lot like kind of Half-Life 1. You're exploring this space station. I think it's a Russian space station, and you've got these weird hooks, kind of like what you had, the hooks from like Windlands, to navigate this environment. Very kind of fast-paced, a lot of good humor in it.
Good techno as well, right? Like ding, 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 ding.
The whole thing was actually really
like
good fun.
The crazy frog or something.
Yeah.
Would go very well with us. So this is a Metroidvania style sequel to the previous VR action adventure title. This is going to be coming out for PC VR and MetaQuest in the future. Developed by Game Dust. I don't have a date on this yet, but this is one that I really, again, I liked quite a bit, and I thought that people might want to catch up by going and playing Jupitergrad 1 while we wait for Jupitergrad 2.
Also, similar title, To the Top, is also getting a sequel, I saw.
Yes, absolutely. I forget the name of the sequel, but it's not To the Top 2.
No, wasn't it?
No. No, I don't think so. I think it's doing a new
to the bottom.
IP.
Yeah.
I forget the name of it. It's out there on the web anyway. Someone in chat can Google and help save me maybe. But
just be original with the title, please. Yeah.
It was good. It was good from what I saw. I just can't remember it. So I'll just do a quick recap before we wrap up here. So first off, best forklift operator. Can't keep a straight face. That is a serious recommendation for me. It looks boring to look at, but if you like driving stuff, it's funny how captivating that stuff can be. Painting VR, if you want to go crazy, absolutely nuts with a paint gun. Little Cities and Cities VR coming up in the next couple of weeks. And that'll hold you over until the next show, 2 weeks from now.
Yes.
Wow.
Thank you very much.
Great.
I also want to give a quick shout out to the super chats. We've had a few during the show. So Buck, thank you very much for the super chat. Really, really appreciate it, mate. And we've also had one from Virtual Steve, who says, congrats on the 200, boys. I look forward to every episode. Here's to another 200 plus. Cheers. Thank you very much, mate. And then one from Marwell, who says, congrats on the 200. You guys rock. Thanks for all you do for the VR community. So yeah, thank you very much for the super chats.
Nice.
Really appreciated. So just to round up the show, we've been going on for a little bit longer than usual. Laxative Pain, what a name. He says, helped you guys out. The new game to the top is actually called Super Kit to the top.
Super Kit? Oh.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep. Nice one. So yeah, thank you all for watching. And if you're listening, thank you as well. Just a reminder of the show times. The show is live streamed every other Saturday at the moment on YouTube and Twitch. The show goes live at 7 p.m. in Europe, 6 p.m. in the UK, and 10 a.m. Pacific time. You can also check out the audio version, which is available on iTunes, SoundCloud, and Spotify. If you enjoy the show, hit the like button and subscribe to the channel on YouTube, or leave us a nice review on iTunes, because that also really helps us out.
Yeah.
So thank you very much if you do that. We'd really appreciate it. We'll see you in a couple of weeks' time after the Metagaming Showcase, and hopefully we've got some nice, juicy games to talk about. So until then, take care of yourselves.
Hope I sort out my bit. That's it. That's all. I'll do my job for me. Thanks, Meta.
Keep safe. Take care. And,
you keep
bye-bye
safe,
for now.
Mike. Yeah.
I will.
Exactly.
Let's hope we get some new games so I don't have to do crazy crap like this anymore. Take care. Bye-bye. See ya.
See ya. Bye-bye.
Yeah.
Bye.